Chapter 289. After his parents passed away, he thought that he would no longer have a home. But now, with the person in front of him, he had a home again. Earning money to support the family was equivalent to earning money to support Su Yiyen. There was nothing wrong with that. Su Yen blushed slightly and said with bright eyes, "Then you really have to work harder. It's not easy to support me." Su Yiyen and Hua Chenhuan were enjoying their lovey-dovey time together. On the other side, Hua Qihan's family was not so comfortable. Hua Qihan was frightened by Hua Chenhuan's casual words. His face was dark all the way and he did not say a word. Mrs. Hua wanted to break the silence, but she tried to pick a few words. Hua Qihan did not answer. In the end, he even complained that she was nagging and glared at her fiercely. Although Mrs. Hua was submissive at home, she had received a lot of attention over the years because of her identity as Mrs. Hua. After being snubbed, she was a little angry. Especially when she was still injured. Hua Qihan did not even say a word of comfort and treated her like this. She was a little angry. She immediately turned her back and did not talk to Hua Qihan again. For the rest of the journey, one of them was preoccupied and the other was resentful. They were as cold as two strangers. It was not easy to get off the boat. Hua Qihan called a car to go back to the company, leaving Mrs. Hua alone and asking her to go to the hospital. Mrs. Hua looked at the car that was driving away and her heart was full of anger. She went to the hospital alone, dressed her wound miserably, got vaccinated, and ran to her son's ward. However, she saw her son being intimate with the woman who had caused their family trouble. After being affectionate, she completely exploded. Wen Jingping did panic for a moment after being kicked into the water, but it was only for a moment. In her previous life, she had taken swimming lessons in college. Although she was not particularly proficient, she could at least paddle a little. Hua Xiaofeng, on the other hand, was a true landlubber. After being kicked down, he only knew how to struggle, but the more he struggled, the faster he sank. Wen Jingping looked at him and gritted her teeth. She tried her best to use her dog paddle to float up while trying to pull him. It was a pity that Hua Xiaofeng's weight was there, and his strength was great. The result of the tug was that both of them were exhausted and almost sank into the sea together. However, because of this, Hua Xiaofeng's attitude towards Wen Jingping changed drastically after he woke up. Hua Xiaofeng, who originally had some complaints and annoyance towards her because of the things she had caused during this period of time, now really regarded her as his savior and true love. He asked her about her well-being and was very considerate. Wen Jingping enjoyed the care of the rich young master and secretly rejoiced that she had made the right bet this time. Her deep affection, or rather, kindness, for risking her life to save Hua Xiaofeng was enough to make Hua Xiaofeng unswervingly loyal to her. It was also enough to make his family see her in a new light. In time, she would not have to worry about marrying into a rich family. Wen Jingping naturally thought that what she had done this time would help her smoothly make a good impression on Hua Xiaofeng's parents. However, she had never expected that this family would not be kind people. When Mrs. Hua arrived, Hua Xiaofeng had just peeled a big apple for Wen Jingping that Mrs. Hua had bought at a high price. The two of them shared the apple, and the entire room was filled with sticky pink bubbles. Mrs. Hua had just eaten a belly full of anger from her husband. When she saw this scene, she felt that it was indescribable. She immediately roared, "What are you doing?" Chapter 290. Wen Jingping and Hua Xiaofeng were shocked. They turned around and saw Mrs. Hua's face, which was as dark as the bottom of a pot. They were both surprised and confused. "Mom, you're back." As Hua Xiaofeng spoke, he glanced behind Mrs. Hua and frowned. "Why isn't Dad with you? Aren't you going to look for..." "Look for what? What's the point of looking for them?" Thinking about all the things that had happened to her today, Mrs. Hua was like a fire-breathing dragon. She wanted to scold everyone who came to her. "What did your dad and I tell you yesterday? Your uncle and Miss Su are getting married. They didn't send us an invitation because they're narrow-minded and not generous. You should attend their wedding. Outsiders will only praise you for being steady and compromising. When you come back, your dad will let people spread the news and make it seem like you had no choice but to break off the engagement with the Su family. He can even blame Hua Chenhuan and the Su family." Mrs. Hua's tone suddenly became sharp. "What happened in the end? What did you do?" You actually brought this woman with you. Was your brain squashed by a door? Or did you drink too much water before you fell into the sea and became delirious? It was Hu Xiaofeng's first time seeing his mother so angry. He immediately felt a little guilty. Mom, I didn't. Didn't what? Didn't you bring her with you? Do you dare say that you didn't want to cause trouble when you brought her to their wedding? Hu Xiaofeng choked. With a dark face, he avoided Mrs. Hu's probing gaze. How could Mrs. Hu not understand when she saw his expression? The anger on her face grew. Why are you so brainless? You're really going to piss me off. After all, he was her own child. Although she was angry, she was unwilling to admit that he was hopelessly stupid. She decisively pushed all the blame onto Wen Jingping. What kind of bewitching potion did this woman give you to make you do stupid things for her again and again, and let her use you as a tool? After Mrs. Hu finished shouting, she pointed the spearhead at Wen Jingping. It's you. It must be you. You begged Xiaofeng to bring you, didn't you? You shameless thing. When our Xiaofeng was about to marry into the Su family, you came out to seduce him. You caused him to lose the marriage alliance, and you still don't let him go. You're trying to harm him. How can you be so vicious? Wen Jingping's eyes widened. She never thought that the flames of war would inexplicably spread to her. She hurriedly tried to defend herself. Auntie, I didn't. Xiaofeng asked me to go with him. Wen Jingping did have the idea of letting Hu Xiaofeng bring her to the wedding. But before she could put this idea into action, Hu Xiaofeng held a grudge against Su Yiyan for beating him up. He insisted on dragging her to the wedding to humiliate Su Yiyan. This was exactly what Wen Jingping wanted, so she didn't refuse. But now, he was actually blaming her for all the crimes. Mrs. Hu didn't care how she defended herself. Once she decided on something, she wouldn't give her a chance to refute. Xiaofeng, you're pushing everything to Xiaofeng. Do you really think that with Xiaofeng around, I can't do anything to you? Mrs. Hu's face was red. She pointed at Wen Jingping condescendingly and said fiercely, I'll tell you clearly today. Our family Hu will never let a woman like you marry into our family. If you don't want to be an underground mistress, you can break up with Xiaofeng right now. As long as I'm alive, you can forget about being our family Hu's daughter-in-law. Chapter 291. As Mrs. Hu spoke, she turned her head to criticize her son. Your father warned you last time, but you didn't take it seriously. Now, I'm warning you again. Break up with this woman quickly. Otherwise, I'll pretend that I don't have a son like you. After Mrs. Hu finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hu Xiaofeng's reaction and limped away in her high heels. Hu Xiaofeng was stunned for a few seconds before he finally reacted. He hurriedly chased after her. Mom! The mother and son left just like that, leaving Wen Jingping alone on the hospital bed. Her face turned green and white, and her eyes were filled with tears of humiliation. But why did she have to be humiliated like this by this old woman after doing so much? To put it bluntly, wasn't she looking down on her? It clearly wasn't her fault. It clearly had nothing to do with her, but she blamed her for everything. She wanted to pin everything on her head. Be asterisk tis, they were all be asterisk cheese. One day, she would definitely make this old woman kneel down and beg her. She would beg her like a dog. Wen Jingping's face was slightly distorted, and her eyes were filled with resentment and hatred. Su Yiyan had no idea what was happening in the hospital. She was busy preparing for Huo Chenwan's first acupuncture treatment. Are you really not afraid of needles? Recalling Huo Chenwan's behavior during the video call, Su Yiyan was still worried and confirmed it again. Huo Chenwan wanted to say that she wasn't afraid, but when the words reached her mouth, she suddenly remembered Su Yiyan's previous description and silently swallowed them back down. The two of them looked at each other without saying a word. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Ahem, it's fine. My needles look scary, but they don't hurt. Take a look first. If you're really afraid, we'll think of another way, Su Yiyan said as she took out the needle. Huo Chenwan's calm expression cracked a little when she saw the needle that was half the length of her palm being taken out. Su Yiyan had been paying attention to the changes in his expression. Seeing this, he asked tentatively, How about I do it myself first? If you can accept it, I'll do it for you. As soon as he finished speaking, Huo Chenhuan's hand pressed down on Su Yien's. No need. I don't need to stab you. Just stab me. Su Yien was very touched. However, if Huo Chenhuan did not say those words in such a fearless manner, she would be even more touched. Don't worry. I've done it for others before. I won't make a mistake like the first time. Leave it to me. Huo Chenhuan. Now that you mention it, I'm even more worried. No matter what, Huo Chenhuan would never let the needle stab Su Yien's body. He could only reluctantly sacrifice himself and let it stab him. The acupuncture treatment for lower body paralysis mainly used Yanglingquan, Zisanli, Xuanzhong, Huantiao, Yongquan, Senyinjiao, and other acupoints. Most of these acupoints were on the legs. Only Huantiao's position was a little awkward. Su Yien's face couldn't help but redden a little before he started the acupuncture. He took a deep breath and said, "You take off your pants first." Outside the door, Uncle Zhang, who was walking around leisurely after dinner, was shocked. Huo Chenhuan raised his eyebrows and said with a faint smile, "Are you sure?" Su Yien's face was so red that it was about to explode. He glared at the person in front of him and said, "What's there to be sure about? Take off your pants so that you can insert the needle. The heating in the room is so strong. Are you afraid of catching a cold?" Huo Chenhuan's eyes darkened slightly. He asked knowingly, "Do you only take off your outer clothes or everything?" Chapter 292. Fully. But Su Yien almost suffocated on the spot. Just taking off the outside was already very restricted. If she continued to take it off, wouldn't it be unsuitable for children? No need. Just take off the outside. Take off the outside. "Oh," Huo Chenhuan replied in a low voice and said, "I can't move easily. Help me." Su Yien. Move easily, my ass. Last night, who was the one who refused to let her touch him? It's only been a day, and she's already letting herself go? Although Su Yien complained, she still went forward and took off Huo Chenhuan's pants. Her legs, which had not been moved for many years, were different from ordinary people's legs. They were unhealthily pale and more or less shrunken. They were really not good-looking. Su Yien subconsciously reached out to touch them and asked in a hoarse voice, "Does it hurt?" The light in Huo Chenhuan's eyes dimmed little by little. His lips curled up slightly, and he reached out to touch her head. "It's okay. I didn't feel it when I woke up. It didn't hurt for long." It was a simple sentence, but it revealed a sense of helpless desolation and despair. Su Yien felt sad. She calmed herself down and took out a needle. Just as she was about to pierce it, she found that the person in front of her was tense. Nervous? A little. Just a little? Su Yien chuckled and reached out to pat his hand. "Relax. I can't even pierce the needle into you like this." Huo Chenhuan glanced at the needle in Su Yien's hand and then at her own legs. "It's okay. It won't affect me." Su Yien. "But you're making me feel like I'm harming you, not saving you." Su Yien pursed her lips and suddenly shouted, "Chenhuan, yes?" "Lower your head." Huo Chenhuan subconsciously did as she was told. Then, she saw Su Yien's face magnified in front of her, and her lips were kissed. Huo Chenhuan subconsciously tightened her grip on the armrest. After the initial shock, she gradually relaxed. Just as he was about to turn the tables, Su Yien quickly retreated. Following that, she exclaimed in joy, "It's in." Huo Chenhuan abruptly lowered her head and discovered that a needle had been inserted into her calf at some point in time. The end of the needle was still trembling slightly. Su Yien did not notice Huo Chenhuan's abnormality at all. After making sure that the needle was in the right place, she asked with concern, "Does it hurt?" "I didn't feel anything." Su Yien breathed a sigh of relief. "It's okay. I just need a few more needles." Huo Chenhuan. As it turned out, it was much easier after the first needle. Su Yien began to concentrate on the acupuncture after inserting the needles into several acupoints. Su Yien, who had entered the state of mind, was completely different from her previous frivolous appearance. She was focused, serious, and even a little serious and cautious. Huo Chenhuan looked at her side profile and unconsciously fell into a trance. until Su Yiyen inserted the needles for a while. Hua Qinhuan's originally steady breathing suddenly stagnated in her ear. She even heard the other party gasp. Su Yiyen paused and asked, "What's wrong? Do you feel anything?" "Just now, I suddenly felt a little sore. Besides this, do you feel anything else?" Hua Qinhuan carefully felt and said, "It seems that it's still a little numb." Su Yiyen's tense face gradually softened. "Do you feel uncomfortable?" "No, it's just a little strange." This was the first time he felt the sensation in his lower body since the car accident. Chapter 293. Hua Qinhuan was a little absent-minded, and there was an indescribably complicated feeling. For a moment, he even thought that he was hallucinating. Su Yiyen, on the other hand, was very excited. Her eyes were slightly red as she said, "It's like this at the beginning, and it may hurt a little later. This is inevitable. It means that your nerves are recovering bit by bit. The more pain it is, the better it will be." "It's okay. I'm not afraid of pain." Su Yiyen was skeptical. How could a person who was afraid of needles not be afraid of pain? Hua Qinhuan did not know that his unyielding and omnipotent image in Su Yiyen's heart had been completely destroyed because of this needle. After Su Yiyen finished the needles, she helped Hua Qinhuan do moxibustion and then massage. The so-called massage was, of course, not just a casual push. It needed to be like acupuncture, and there were also pressing, rubbing, wiping, and other methods. Different diseases and different acupuncture points required different massage methods. For Hua Qinhuan's disease, she first massaged the glabella, baihui, fengfu, and other acupuncture points, then moved down to the jianjing, jianhua, tsuqi, and other acupuncture points, and finally some acupuncture points on the back and lower limbs. From top to bottom, it could be said that he had done a thorough full-body massage. When it was over, Su Yiyen was already unbearably tired. Hua Qinhuan had already fallen asleep under the moderate pressure and the soothing incense in the room. Su Yiyen sat on the floor at the head of the bed. While resting, her eyes were fixed on the side of the person on the bed. After a long time, she leaned over and kissed him. "It's been hard on you, but it's all worth it. I promise." When Hua Qinhuan woke up the next day, Su Yiyen had already gone downstairs to prepare breakfast before him. He had no recollection of what happened in the second half of the treatment. He only vaguely remembered that Su Yiyen seemed to be giving him a massage when he fell asleep. After waking up, not only did he feel much better, but even his heavy body seemed to have become much lighter. Ahem. As soon as Hua Qinhuan came downstairs, Uncle Zhang slowly floated in front of him and took the initiative to greet him. "Good morning, young master." "Good morning." Hua Qinhuan nodded. Just as he was about to go around him to find Su Yiyen, he saw Uncle Zhang following him with an expression of hesitation. Hua Qinhuan frowned slightly. "What's the matter?" Uncle Zhang's expression, he said, "Young master, I can understand that you and young madam are, you two newlyweds. It's inevitable, it's hard for you to part ways." Hua Qinhuan took a few seconds to understand the meaning of Uncle Zhang's words, and the expression on his face suddenly became subtle. Until now, only Zui Yanbai and Su Yiyen, who had accompanied him to the hospital, knew about his impotence. The others either had some guesses or were really not clear about it. He didn't even tell Yu Zian and the others. The reason he hid it from Uncle Zhang was that he didn't want Uncle Zhang, who had watched him grow up and was also the only elder in the family Hua who sincerely treated him well, to be sad and even blame himself for this matter. He didn't expect that because of his concealment, it would cause such a big misunderstanding. Uncle Zhang had probably heard all the noise they made in the room over the past 2 days and mistakenly thought that the two of them. Chapter 294. Hua Qinhuan's face showed a rare trace of embarrassment when a young person was caught doing something bad. Before he had time to explain, Su Yiyen had already heard the two of them. She poked her head out of the kitchen and asked in confusion, "What are you talking about?" "Nothing." Hua Qinhuan spoke before Uncle Zhang could. "We're talking about what delicious food you made this morning. I made some glutinous rice porridge and a few side dishes. You're in a special situation recently, so you should eat more bland food." When Hua Qinhuan heard Su Yiyen's words, Alarm bells went off in his heart. As expected, he turned his head and met Uncle Zhang's gratified and loving eyes. Huo Chenhuan. Fine, now they couldn't clear their names even if they jumped into the Yellow River. Su Yiyan didn't notice the undercurrent between the two of them. After speaking, she retreated to the small kitchen and wanted to prepare the porridge and dishes as soon as possible. As soon as she left, Huo Chenhuan was slightly relieved. He braced himself to take the blame. I'll be careful. Uncle Zhang's expression became more and more amiable. The young master was indeed the obedient and sensible young master who knew how to care for the people around him. With the young madam around, whether it was the young master or the family Hua, everything would develop in a good direction in the future. I have to go to the store today to see if you want to go back to the old house, or I'll go back to the old house and wait for you. Okay, then I'll go back after I'm done with work. I'll ask someone to send the medicinal cuisine to you at noon. Remember to eat it. After saying that, Su Yiyan was still a little worried and tried to find an ally for herself. Uncle Zhang, the food I asked someone to send back is good for Chenhuan's health. Help me keep an eye on him and make sure he finishes it. Uncle Zhang smiled and replied, Don't worry, young madam. I'll make sure the young master finishes the food. If he doesn't eat, I'll call you. Okay, if he doesn't eat, just tell me. I'll talk to him. Huo Chenhuan smiled warmly as she watched the two of them getting along well. It's only been 2 days and Uncle Zhang is already on your side. Su Yan was like a victorious rooster. He raised his chin high and said proudly, What can I do? Who asked me to be born so lovable, and flowers blossom when they see me? Huo Chenhuan just smiled and didn't say anything. She just watched her play quietly. After breakfast, Su Yiyan left the island and went to the dining hall. Su Yiyan brought a part of the big pot of braised ingredients that he had cooked the day before, and asked Uncle Zhang to bring the rest back to the old house. In addition to the braising ingredients, Su Yiyan had also asked people to find some big red flowers to dye the red eggs that they had promised to send. She learned that Su Yiyan was going to dye the eggs with fresh flowers and give them to the customers as wedding gifts. The staff in the restaurant also came to watch one by one, hoping that they could be the first to eat the red eggs and get the blessing of the newlyweds. Therefore, when the red eggs were taken out, these people swarmed over, for fear that they would be one step behind others. Su Yiyan also taught a few people in the kitchen how to make sugar-coated haws and asked them to make a batch as today's small gifts. Of course, whether it was the red eggs or sugar-coated haws, the gifts were limited to today. If they wanted to eat more later, they could also send them, but they had to spend a certain amount in the restaurant. After a 3-day break, the dining hall opened again. Unsurprisingly, it was full again. Some of the customers who had been waiting for a long time came to eat and treat after hearing the descriptions of the previous customers, and some simply came for the red eggs that Su Yiyan mentioned in the live broadcast before. Chapter 295. Is this a red egg? It looks so beautiful. Before I came here, I thought red eggs were bright red. Now it looks a little pink and a little purple. The customers in the restaurant were very curious about the red egg. After receiving the red egg, they wanted to crack it open to see what was the difference between the egg inside and ordinary eggs. The result was obvious. Not only was her hand dyed red by the egg, but she also dyed the egg white inside the boiled egg. A few customers were frightened by this sudden situation and asked uncertainly, Is this still edible? Yes, our red eggs are dyed with the juice of fresh flowers. They are non-toxic and harmless. The color of fresh flowers is so fresh. The girl who loved flowers put the dyed egg under her nose and smelled it. Indeed, she smelled a faint fragrance of flowers. The boiled eggs tasted pretty much the same. There was basically not much difference. However, after being dyed, for these people who had never eaten a red egg before, they felt that this egg was not just food. They ate it more seriously and with a little satisfaction of being blessed. After the first batch of red eggs was distributed, the medicinal cuisine was served one after another. Along with the medicinal cuisine, there was a big round and bright red sugar-coated haw. This is again. The store manager said this is sugar-coated haw. It is also a limited gift today. It is a gift for all the customers here. I wish you all a prosperous future. Sugar-coated haw? The customer turned the sugar-coated haw in his hand with curiosity. This thing is made with hawthorn. It can stimulate the appetite and help digestion. However, pregnant women should not eat too much of it, especially those who are pregnant and are not stable yet. When the waiter said that, the pregnant women present did not feel offended. Instead, they felt that this restaurant was more considerate and cautious. It should be known that even in high-class restaurants, there were often people who suffered from some minor ailments because of eating some ordinary food. However, they had never seen the staff of a high-class restaurant so meticulously remind the customers to pay attention to it. The sugar-coated haw that had just been made was crispy and sweet on the outside. Together with the slightly sour hawthorn inside, it was really a tempting snack. Sigh, it would be great if such a happy event could happen a few more times. That way, we would be able to eat more of the shop owner's new dishes. When the other guests heard this, they agreed. However, Su Yiyen couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth when he heard this from his employee. A few more times? How many times did he want her to marry him? However, when her uncle and aunt's baby was born or turned 1 month old, they could hold another event. After all, her uncle was one of the major shareholders of the store. Chapter 296. Yi Qiliang, the dean of a university's Department of Pharmacy, found Su Yiyen with many twists and turns. That day, he happened to see Su Yiyen's live broadcast from his student's channel. He also happened to know that Su Yiyen had been framed, so he personally opened an account in her live broadcast room to observe and hook up with her. In the end, before he could hook up with her, the research institute came out on its own to help Su Yiyen resolve the annoying rumors. After that, Yi Qiliang did think of meeting her to discuss these resurrected, ancient earth medicinal herbs with her. However, when he went to the research institute to ask the proud student who had already become the dean of the research institute about Su Yiyen, the senior told him that the research institute's director had told him that Su Yiyen was a descendant of the research institute. The other party told him clearly that the streamer was the descendant of a retired senior in the research institute. The other party had contributed these priceless treasures for free, not because he wanted fame or fortune, but because he did not want anyone to disturb him. Although Yi Qiliang really wanted to meet Su Yiyen, he respected her wishes. He suppressed his curiosity and did not disturb her. It was not until something happened recently that he had to thicken his skin and take the initiative to contact Su Yiyen's grandfather. Then, through Su Yiyen's grandfather, he found Su Yiyen. Su Yiyen was not repulsed by the old man who had helped her before, so she agreed to meet him during her free time in the afternoon. "You're Su Yiyen, right?" Yi Qiliang rushed to Su Yiyen as soon as he entered the door. His movements were so agile that he did not look like an old man in his 60s or 70s. Yi Qiliang looked Su Yiyen up and down. He was surprised and exclaimed, "You're really beautiful. You also know Chinese medicine and medicinal cuisine. You opened a medicinal cuisine restaurant to benefit the masses at such a young age. You're a kind and good child, a good child." Su Yiyen was a little scared at first, but when she heard his string of flattery, she could not help but feel a little embarrassed. "You flatter me. I have nothing to do, so I'm just looking for a living." Yi Qiliang didn't think so. He smiled and said, "You don't have to be modest. Not to mention, with your family's conditions, you don't need to worry about making a living. If you really opened this shop for survival, you wouldn't have given those Chinese medicine seeds to the research institute for free." Su Yiyen smiled but did not reply. She didn't give out the seeds for a simple purpose. Moreover, she had investigated this professor before and knew that he was a respectable senior who had dedicated most of his life to pharmaceutical research. Therefore, she didn't argue with him. "Previously, I encountered some unpleasant things during the live broadcast. Thank you for speaking up for me, Professor. I have always been very grateful." Su Yiyen paused and sat opposite Yi Qiliang. She smiled and said, "I know that Professor Yi has always been interested in Chinese medicine. So, are you here to ask me about Chinese medicine?" "I did want to ask you about those medicinal herbs before, but that's not the reason why I'm here today." Su Yiyen was startled and a little surprised. "That is, I heard that you can give acupuncture to people? Su Yan was even more surprised. So far, she had only given acupuncture to 3 people. One was Ning Chirue, who was gradually entering the recovery period, another was Fan Weiming, who came to see her infertility, and the last was her own husband. Where did you hear about this? Yi Qiliang saw Su Yiyan's surprise and defensiveness. He didn't hide it and said truthfully, "Don't be nervous. I heard about it by chance at the Qi family." The Qi family? Su Yiyan instantly understood who the problem was. Ning Chirue? Chapter 297. Yes. That should be the name of the Qi family's grandson. Su Yiyan caught the main point and probed, "You know Ning Chirue's grandfather? Old man Qi and I are in-laws. His son is my son-in-law." Su Yiyan was speechless. She had to give in to the intricate relationship between in-laws. It turned out that a few days ago, Ning Siyuan and his brother could not completely hide Ning Chirue's illness from the public. As the youngest child of the Ning and Qi families, Ning Chirue had been doted on by both families since he was a child. The 2 families almost had their world come crashing down. Ning Siyuan, who knew the truth but did not report it, almost had to eat his own father's bamboo shoots fried with meat. When the 2 families were in chaos, Yi Qiliang happened to be a guest at the Qi family's house, so he was concerned about his in-laws. That was how he found out about Ning Chirue's illness and that someone was treating him using the ancient Earth's traditional Chinese medicine methods. Yi Qiliang could still hold himself back from looking for her when Chinese medicine suddenly appeared. However, after learning that Su Yiyan actually knew acupuncture, which only existed briefly in ancient books, Yi Qiliang could no longer sit still. "I know it's a bit abrupt to suddenly look for you, but I'm so curious and excited that I couldn't help but come and see you in person." Yi Qiliang could not help but stand up again and stare at Su Yiyan with bright eyes. "Did you really use the ancient Earth's traditional acupuncture to treat old man Qi's grandson?" "Theoretically speaking, it should be." Yi Qiliang did not care about Su Yiyan's faulty wording. He looked at Su Yiyan with a burning gaze. "I heard from the Ning family's boy that you used acupuncture and a kind of herbal incense. Acupuncture is divided into acupuncture and moxibustion. The herbal incense you mentioned is one of the moxibustion methods." Then, Su Yiyan looked at Yi Qiliang's hesitant expression and took the initiative to ask, "Do you want to see the acupuncture needles and the moxibustion incense?" "Can I?" Su Yiyan nodded and took out the set of acupuncture needles that he carried with him. The moment he opened it, Su Yiyan could clearly hear a few gasps coming from the surroundings. The young man beside Yi Qiliang could not help but complain, "Isn't this needle a little too long?" Yi Qiliang was not frightened by these needles. Instead, his eyes lit up as he asked, "Are these the needles used for acupuncture? This is my first time seeing it. Can I touch it?" The corner of Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. "Sure, I've just disinfected this needle before coming here." "Sterilized?" Yi Qiliang looked eager to give it a try. "Then can you help me bandage it?" Everyone, Su Yiyan was speechless. In all her life, this was the first time she had met such a brave warrior who was so eager to be stabbed. Indeed, an old senior who had sacrificed himself for art was not someone ordinary people could compare to. "You can forget about it. This young lady doesn't seem to be feeling very well. You can give her a couple of needles to see what happens." The young lady who was suddenly called out, I'm not, I don't want it." Today, 2 of Yi Qiliang's outstanding students came with him. One was a boy and the other was a girl. The girl's name was Su Yanjun, and the boy was Peng Jiaji, who had sent the video to Yi Qiliang and asked him to take notice of Su Yiyan. "No need, I'm fine." As soon as Su Yanjun finished speaking, she could not help but let out a particularly loud burp. Burp. Su Yanjun, everyone. Chapter 298. Su Yiyan chuckled. "How long have you been burping?" "You've been burping since you came in." Su Yanjun opened her mouth and was about to say something, but she couldn't help but burp again. The courage that she had worked so hard to muster was mostly gone with the burp. She said miserably, "It started the day before yesterday. I didn't take it to heart at first, but I didn't expect it to get worse in the past 2 days. Burp. Su Yanjun burped as she spoke. It was fine when she didn't speak, as she could hold it in. But now, it was like a switch was turned on, and she would burp every few seconds. Su Yanjun couldn't stop trembling every time she burped. She looked funny and pitiful. Burping is also called hiccup in Chinese medicine. There are many reasons to cause hiccup. It can be fear of the cold or stomach heat. Give me your hand and I'll take your pulse. You know how to take pulses? Yi Qiliang exclaimed. He stared at Su Yiyen as if he was looking at a talking golden doll. Su Yiyen was embarrassed. I know a little. Su Yanjun heard Su Yiyen's words and subconsciously glanced at her teacher. She found that his attention wasn't on her at all. She turned to look at her senior for help. Peng Jiaji received his junior's pleading gaze. His expression changed slightly, and he comforted her in a low voice. It's okay. We're all here. She won't do anything to you. Our dean is considered an authority in this area. If she doesn't have real skills and dares to exaggerate in front of the dean, isn't she seeking her own death? Also, didn't you see the recording in the live broadcast room? Maybe she really has a way. Su Yanjun heard him say so much, and her heart calmed down a little. She reached her hand over. Su Yiyen pinched her wrist and carefully felt it. He quickly came to a conclusion. Have you eaten something particularly cold recently? Something cold? Su Yanjun carefully thought about what she had eaten in the past few days and asked tentatively, does sea crab count? Su Yiyen withdrew his hand. Your body belongs to the weak type. You're congenitally deficient, and your constitution is cold. Now that it was winter, crabs were cold food, especially sea crabs, which were even more effective. Did you not even add scallions, garlic, and ginger when you ate the crabs? Su Yanjun was dumbfounded and nodded subconsciously. Her uncle was a businessman. When he came back from the seaside city at the end of the year, he brought back a few especially huge sea crabs. He said that they were especially delicious and that the whole family should try a few. That thing looked quite scary. Her mother didn't know how to cook it, so she just boiled some water and steamed it. Then she added some salt and was done. Now that Su Yiyen mentioned it, she suddenly remembered that on the night she ate the crabs, her stomach did not feel well and she had diarrhea twice. When he woke up the next day, he started to hiccup. When eating seafood, it's best to add some ginger, vinegar, and white wine. Otherwise, not only will it taste fishy, but it will also be cold and can't be suppressed. Su Yanjun looked embarrassed. She thought to herself that she hadn't eaten seafood in the past few years, so how would she know about these taboos? She didn't think that her condition had anything to do with her uncle. After all, her uncle had good intentions and did give some to each family. It was just that other people didn't have any problems eating it. She was the only one who had problems eating it. It could be said that he had done something bad with good intentions. It's not a big problem. First, I'll give you an injection. Then, I'll get someone to cook some medicinal cuisine for you to warm your stomach. Chapter 299. As Su Yiyen spoke, he took out a needle and inserted it into the spot near the center of her pulse. Su Yanjun was still depressed about the crab incident, so she was a little confused when she was suddenly pricked. When she came to her senses, she suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Su Yiyen in horror. Su Yiyen was also frightened by her expression. He blinked and looked at her in confusion. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. In the end, it was Peng Jiaji who broke the silence first. Does it hurt? A little. It doesn't hurt as much as I thought. You don't seem to burp anymore. Su Yanjun seemed to wake up from a dream. She subconsciously touched her neck and asked, really? This place is called the Naguan Acupoint. Acupuncture at this place can calm the heart and calm the nerves. It also has a certain effect on stomach pain, hiccups, and vomiting. Su Yiyen spoke as he inserted the needle. After a few breaths, he took the needle out and pressed the Shaoshang acupoint on the side of Su Yanjun's thumb. How do you feel? A little sore and a little painful. Do you still want to burp? I don't think so. Seeing this, Yi Qiliang asked curiously, what's the reason for this? This place is called the Shaoshang acupoint. It's a kind of acupoint in the human body. Because there are a lot of nerve branches in this place, acupuncture is generally not done. But when you burp, press on this position to make the patient feel sore for about half a minute, and it will have a certain effect of stopping the hiccups. Su Yanjun and the others were not the only ones who had never heard of what Su Yiyan said. Yi Qiliang was also very curious about it. His eyes, which were full of vicissitudes of life, became brighter and brighter. Next, I'll ask someone to cook some medicinal cuisine to treat your stomach cold. Half a minute later, Su Yiyan withdrew his hand and asked, "Do you dare to eat mutton?" Okay, I'll ask them to stew a pot of pepper mutton soup and a bowl of ginger porridge for you. Wait here for a while. Su Yanjun, who had personally experienced the wonders of acupuncture, believed most of Su Yiyan's words, but how about we forget about it? A trace of embarrassment flashed across Su Yanjun's face. I didn't bring much money today. As soon as Su Yanjun finished speaking, Yi Qiliang spoke up first. It's fine, it's fine. Teacher Su, just let them stew it. I'll pay for everything here today. Teacher Su? Su Yiyan was a little confused by this strange nickname that suddenly popped out. Su Yanjun was a little flustered. Professor, there's no need. This is too, however, Yi Qiliang interrupted her first. You did well on your thesis this semester. Take it as a reward from me as your mentor. I'll treat you to a meal. Moreover, all of you are here to accompany me today. How can I let you pay for it? But, no buts. It's settled then. Su Yanjun choked, blushed, and did not refuse again. Peng Jiaji's eyes turned slightly. He licked his lips and leaned over. He chuckled and said, Teacher, since you've already invited Yanjun, why don't you treat me as well? Yi Qiliang glanced at him and said in disdain, I'm not treating you. You pay for it yourself. Teacher, you're biased. Biased, my ass? Why don't you take a look at the damned thesis you handed in last week? It almost pissed me off. How dare you ask me to treat you to a meal? I'm already being magnanimous by not treating you to a meal with my teaching rod. Yi Qiliang pretended to hit him. Peng Jiaji hurriedly ran out and stood in front of them. He said embarrassedly, Miss Su, look at my crooked neck. Can it be treated? Do you want to give me a few injections too? Su Yiyan was speechless. Chapter 300. The crooked neck that Peng Jiaji mentioned was not really crooked, but a stiff neck. A week ago, Peng Jiaji went back to his hometown. Due to the new house moving, he temporarily stayed at his uncle's house for 2 nights. He was used to a soft pillow, so after sleeping on his uncle's hard, super high pillow for 2 days, he could not move his neck anymore. It hurt when he tried to straighten it slightly, and it turned a good young man like him into a crooked neck. If this continued, how could he find a wife in the future? Wasn't this a blatant warning to girls not to hang themselves on his crooked neck? Su Yiyan got up and pressed him into the chair. She looked around for a while with a serious expression. Peng Jiaji's heart suddenly thumped, and he trembled as he asked, Can it be cured? Su Yiyan pondered for a moment, but you don't need to use acupuncture. Let me give you a massage. Massage? Yi Qiliang's mind was hooked by this new term. It's also a kind of treatment technique. If it's light, it can dredge the meridians and adjust the blood flow. If it's heavy, it can set the bones. However, a normal newbie should pay attention to the control of strength. If the strength is too light, it will not be able to achieve the treatment effect. If the strength is too heavy, it may cause the patient to be injured or even worsen the injury. Su Yiyan herself had the support function to help her quickly familiarize herself with these basic skills, but others might not have this awareness. If Yi Qiliang saw that she had helped his student with a few massages, he would go back and find someone to test the problem. If he pursued the matter, he might come to her. It was better to be prepared in advance. Yi Qiliang listened to Su Yiyan's words thoughtfully and did not rush to ask. Su Yiyan did not mind. After washing her hands, she pressed on Peng Jiaji's neck. The treatment of stiff neck mainly used the Fengqi, Fengfu, Tianzhu, and other acupuncture points. She repeatedly massaged them to relax the muscles and relieve the spasms. For more serious cases of stiff neck, She also needed to use some extreme measures. Peng Jiaji's stiff neck was already considered serious because of the time and the nerve compression. After Su Yiyan finished the initial massage, she took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Relax." Then, she used her left palm to support his chin and her right palm to support the back of his head, slowly rotating his neck. When Peng Jiaji completely relaxed, she suddenly increased the rotation and exerted force. A cracking sound broke the silence in the room, causing the atmosphere in the room to stagnate. "Peng Jiaji?" Everyone in the room. A few seconds later, Peng Jiaji jumped up from the chair and screamed, "Head, head, head. Is my head still there? Su Yiyan?" Everyone. Yi Qilyang was the first to react. He was shocked and angry. "Are you a pig? If you don't have your head, would you still be a ghost if you're still alive and kicking and screaming like a ghost?" Only then did Peng Jiaji remember to reach out to touch his neck and head. It's still there, and Peng Jiaji looked at this and then at that and became more excited. "It's fixed. Good for you." Yi Qilyang looked at the student who was less mature than a girl and scolded him jokingly. He turned to Su Yiyan and said, "Miss Su, just now to put it bluntly, stiff neck means that his neck is a little dislocated." I pushed it back. Su Yiyan wiped her hands and said wittily, "I'll say it again. Do not imitate dangerous actions. If you're not a professional, that push just now might have really caused the neck to crack." Peng Jiaji. Everyone. Chapter 301. Peng Jiaji's face was ashen. He felt a sense of fear and relief after escaping from a disaster. "Your pillow is mainly due to your improper sleeping posture and the pillow. Be more careful in the future. You don't want to experience that again, right?" Peng Jiaji nodded with a pale face. He felt that after today, the word pillow would leave a psychological shadow in his heart. QAQ. After the scare, they no longer had any doubts about Su Yiyan's ability. Su Yiyan had just informed the kitchen to prepare an extra portion of medicinal cuisine for Su Yanjun. When she looked up, she saw Yi Qilyang's excited and twisted expression. She was so frightened that she gasped. Su Yuxuan and Qing Juanhao, who came along because they were worried, had been on the sidelines. They hadn't even reacted to the fact that their little sister, niece, had learned these strange abilities that they had never heard of before. When they saw this scene, they frowned slightly and rushed to Su Yiyan's left and right, blocking Yi Qilyang, the weird grandpa, to prevent him from doing anything strange to Su Yiyan. Yi Qilyang also realized that he had lost his composure. He coughed softly and rubbed his hands. "I don't mean any harm. I'm just a little excited. Also, I have something that I need Teacher Su's help with. You can just call me by my name." Su Yiyan still didn't let down her guard. She had a feeling that something bad was going to happen after Yi Qilyang called her Teacher Su. As it turned out, her sixth sense was quite accurate. "What do you want me to help with?" "I'm going to set up a new subject in the school." Cheng Juanhao furrowed his brows and asked first, "What subject?" "It's a subject that specializes in teaching people how to identify these Chinese herbs and how to use them. It's also a subject that allows people to choose some Chinese medicine skills." Su Yiyan was startled by his words. A bold idea came to her mind. "You can't be. I want to invite Miss Su to be a special lecturer for this subject." "Teacher?" Su Yiyan was stunned. No wonder he kept calling her teacher. He was waiting for her. No. I can't do it. I've never wanted to be a teacher. Moreover, my ability isn't enough to teach others. You think too highly of me." Yi Qilyang only felt that she was being modest. "If you can't do it, I'm afraid no one else in this world can. Before I came, I had some doubts. But now that I've seen your ability with my own eyes, I've underestimated you." The expression on Su Yiyan's face froze. She did not know how to accept the compliment from the elderly. Yi Qilyang misunderstood her hesitation and said dejectedly, "Of course, I also know that this request is very presumptuous. After all, these things is of to a certain extent, the skills to a person's or of A's or his or of their skills. The rarer something was, the more precious it was. But if these things were really made public, How could these people make profits and insure their lives? As the saying goes, cutting off one source of income is tantamount to killing one's parents. When he heard that Su Yiyen had given the seeds to the research institute for free and opened a medicinal cuisine restaurant with a low average price, he naturally thought that she would help. But he neglected the fact that she was willing to take out these things because he was magnanimous. But if he forced her to take out these things, he would be asking for a yard after taking an inch, and his morals would be taken hostage. Chapter 302. It's my fault for being thoughtless and making things difficult for you. Yi Qilyang bowed to Su Yiyen with a guilty look on his face. Su Yiyen felt a little upset seeing him like this. The person in front of her was truly selfless and loved Chinese medicine. He loved everything related to it. Human eyes could not lie. She could feel his sincerity. He had never thought of keeping these things in his hands to amass wealth. But asking her to teach others, Su Yiyen took a deep breath and tried to ask the system, "System, can I teach what I've learned in the system to others?" The system was silent for a few seconds before responding. "Yes. There won't be any bad consequences, right? No, there won't be any problems when the host taught the method of medicinal cuisine to her subordinates, right? That's not the same. The effects of medicinal cuisine are relatively weak. Moreover, the medicinal cuisine in the restaurant can only be made with my permission, so it's still within my control. He's asking me to teach those I don't know. What if she really taught some people, but those people's abilities were not good enough, but they went to treat others for the sake of their unconventional vanity? Would it be her fault if something went wrong?" The system was silent for a few seconds before speaking again. The host's concerns are reasonable. However, there was a saying in ancient Earth, "The master can show you the way, but the cultivation depends on the person." Some people can do the same thing well while others can't. This is very normal. Those who can do it well will continue to persevere, while those who can't will be eliminated. The system was different from humans. It had a powerful database, so its words were naturally more rational. However, "Host, are you sure you want to do this? What? If you teach these things, the host's abilities will be replicated. Perhaps it won't be that special to the world anymore. At that time, it might be more difficult to steal the halo of the female lead. Host, don't you want to change the fate of yourself and your family?" Su Yiyen's heart trembled. She couldn't help but struggle. After Yi Qilyang apologized, he didn't want to disturb her any longer. He left with his 2 students. However, 1 second before he walked out of the room, Su Yiyen called out, "Professor Yi, I need to think about it." Yi Qilyang stopped in his tracks and turned to look at her in surprise. Su Yiyen avoided his eyes, not allowing him to affect her too much. "I need some time to think." The fact that Su Yiyen did not reject him directly meant that he was still struggling in his heart. He was not completely indifferent to his proposal. A glimmer of hope appeared in Yi Qilyang's eyes again. His eyes reddened as he said, all right. Take your time to think about it. There's no rush. No matter what decision you make, you don't have to worry." It was easy to refuse a purposeful plea, but a humble plea could always soften one's heart. After Yi Qilyang and the others left, Su Yiyen heaved a huge sigh of relief. However, she saw her brother and uncle looking at her with complicated expressions. "What's wrong? Is there something on my face?" Cheng Juanhao's face was unprecedentedly serious. "Yan, how do you know all these things? Clearly, I've never heard you mention them before." Su Yuxuan echoed, "That's right. We've lived together for over 20 years. As your older brother, I actually didn't know that you knew all these strange things. The medicinal cuisine from before was one thing, but now." Su Yuxuan never realized that the little sister he had doted on since childhood was so unfamiliar. Chapter 303. It wasn't that Su Yiyen hadn't imagined such a scenario before, but when it really happened, there was an indescribable complexity in her heart. After a moment of silence, she said in a hoarse voice, "I detected that the host has the intention to expose the system. Warning, warning, warning." The words that were about to come out of Su Yiyen's mouth were forcefully stopped by a bunch of big red and bold exclamation marks. "What? I'm saying that the reason why I know and understand these things is because of Grandpa. Grandpa? Su Yuxuan turned to look at Cheng Juanhao, and they both saw the unexpected surprise in each other's eyes. You're saying that Grandpa taught you all these things? To be precise, it's the information that Grandpa gave me. Cheng Juanhao still didn't believe it. Why haven't I heard Dad mention this before? Su Yan's eyes were slightly red, and she tried her best not to let the two of them see her nervousness and guilt. This is a secret between Grandpa and me. A secret? Cheng Juanhao felt more and more ridiculous. Then why are you talking about it now? Moreover, Dad was clearly very surprised when he saw you cook those dishes before. Most importantly, if his father already knew about these things, then why didn't he say a word for so many years when he could have helped them? Why did he just watch them do all kinds of things for their child? Su Yiyan knew what Cheng Juanhao wanted to say, so she hurriedly explained, I got the medicinal cuisine recipe from an old friend of Grandpa's who passed away 2 years ago. Although Grandpa knew about it, he didn't know what was written in it. An old friend who passed away? Cheng Juanhao's mind was a little confused. Did his father have an old friend who passed away 2 years ago? Yes, it's an old friend who lives in a more remote area. You can go back and ask Grandpa. Cheng Juanhao was originally skeptical of Su Yian's words, but after seeing how certain she was, he was a little shaken. Really? Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? After the first lie came out, the rest followed suit. As for why I'm willing to tell you now, it's because you asked, and I don't want to lie to you. Moreover, since I've already decided to take these things out, rather than letting your imaginations run wild, I might as well tell you the truth. Su Yiyan looked at Cheng Juanhao apologetically as she said, Uncle, I didn't mean to be indifferent to your anxiousness. It's just that my treatment method is too unique. I haven't tried it in the beginning, and I'm afraid that I'll cause problems. Also, before this, I wasn't sure if I could really help you. I was worried that if I gave you hope, you wouldn't be able to get pregnant. Cheng Juanhao's face finally looked better. He also realized that he had pushed himself into a dead end. He sighed softly and said, I don't blame you. Your aunt won't blame you either. We should be thanking you that she's pregnant now. Su Yiyan smiled and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Su Yuxuan still felt that something was wrong. She frowned and said, I believe you when you say that Grandpa gave you the information. After all, Grandpa has so many books. It's reasonable for you to occasionally find 1 or 2 miscellaneous books that you're interested in. But what about those medicinal herb seeds? Su Yuxuan stared at her sister, trying to find an answer from her eyes. How do you explain those medicinal herb seeds? I heard that those seeds aren't in the research institute. Where did you find them? Chapter 304. Su Yian's heart skipped a beat when she heard this. She secretly rejoiced at her grandfather's foresight. Back when she decided to give the seeds to the research institute, her grandfather was worried about her situation and generously gave her an empty shell team at the border. To the outside world, it was said to be involved in all kinds of zoology and botany research. Su Yiyan's Chinese herbs were accidentally discovered there. Of course, this empty shell team was just a false name to deceive some observant people. They would still know what they needed to know. It was just that in the game between superiors, most people only cared about benefits. They had a tacit understanding that no one should cross the line. Those seeds were the research results of one of my grandfather's subsidiary companies. The research only started a year ago. However, I was the one who provided the idea. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she glanced at her brother and snorted coldly. She pretended to be angry and said, If you don't believe me, you can ask grandfather. Su Yuxuan looked embarrassed and said, Okay. It's not that I don't believe you. I'm just worried that you'll be deceived. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and sneered, Deceived? Are you saying that grandfather lied to me? No. I definitely didn't mean that. Su Yuxuan didn't have as much face as his sister in front of grandfather Cheng. In front of this elder, he was just like his brothers and sisters in the same generation. He was more or less afraid. Now that Su Yiyan mentioned grandfather Cheng, he was at his wits' end. He quickly raised the white flag and begged for mercy. It's my fault. I said the wrong thing. My good sister, please don't tell grandfather what I said. Now you know how to be afraid. Su Yen crossed her arms and turned her head away with a smug look on her face. Neither of them could see the relief on her face. For the time being, she managed to fool the issue of her ability. However, Yi Qilyang's matter was still a big problem. What do you plan to do about what the old professor just said? Su Yen shook her head and said dejectedly, I don't know. Su Yuxuan knew that her sister was soft-hearted and couldn't stand other people begging her. She frowned and reminded her, if you don't want to, just refuse. It's no big deal. The thing is in your hands, so it's yours. You have the right to decide whether to teach it or not. The familiar concern and protection made Su Yiyen relax a little. She smiled and said, I know. I will think about it carefully. Your grandfather and I have to go back tomorrow. I'll leave Shueru and the child to you. Cheng Juanhao wanted to stay for a while longer, but there were a lot of things waiting for him to deal with in the main family, so he couldn't delay. Uncle, don't worry. My mother and I will take good care of my aunt and my future cousins. Yes. Su Yiyen, who had carefully dealt with the two of them and did not reveal any flaws, collapsed on the chair as soon as the two of them left, as if he had just fought a great battle. After she caught her breath, she immediately contacted her grandfather, who had been dragged into this mess by her. Grandpa. The moment the call was connected, Su Yiyen could only call out, Grandpa. The rest of her words seemed to be blocked by something and were stuck in her throat. Yes, old man, you went to look for you? Old Master Cheng seemed to hear something wrong in her voice. He asked with concern, did he bully you? Su Yiyen listened to his voice and felt indescribably complicated. Her throat moved a few times before she said in a hoarse voice, I just told a lie. A very big lie to my brother and uncle. Chapter 305. After that, Su Yiyen didn't need Grandpa Cheng to ask further. She repeated what she had just said to the two of them word for word. Grandpa Cheng didn't reprimand Su Yiyen after hearing it. He didn't ask for an answer like the two of them did. He replied indifferently, okay, I got it. It was as if what Su Yiyen had just said was just a trivial matter. Su Yiyen's heart was heavy. In front of this elder who had always tolerated her and helped her, she showed her truest and most helpless side. Grandpa, why don't you ask? They all want to know. Why don't you ask? Grandpa Cheng was silent for a long time before he sighed. It's normal for young people to have their own little secrets. You've had your own ideas since you were young. Grandpa knows your temperament. If it wasn't for a particularly difficult reason, you would never lie to your family. Yen, you have to remember that even if everyone forces you, Grandpa will always stand by your side unconditionally. He will help you keep your secret and protect you. So, don't feel too much pressure in everything. Grandpa is here. When Su Yiyen heard this, she finally couldn't hold back the tears in her eyes. In this uncertain future, she was able to have a family member and an elder who supported her unconditionally. He told her that Grandpa was here. She didn't have to feel any pressure. No matter how heavy the snow was, he would be at the front to help her. In his eyes, she would always be a child who needed to be protected. She would always be a junior who was worthy of his trust. What happened today made Su Yiyen upset. She originally planned to go to the Upper East City in the afternoon to check on the situation, but her plan was put on hold. After arranging the order for the evening with great difficulty, Su Yiyen returned to the family Hua with a heart full of worries. Huo Chenhuan didn't expect Su Yiyen to come back so early. He was surprised and pleasantly surprised at the same time. Why are you back so early? Did you miss me? As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yiyen rushed over to him and hugged him. Yen. Huo Chenhuan was keenly aware that Su Yiyen's mood was not right. He patted her back to comfort her and asked, what happened? Did someone bully you? No, no one bullied me. Then, I want to ask you a question. What? If there's something that benefits the public, but it may not be appreciated by others, or even cause trouble for you and by your family, would you do it? If that's the case, would you still be willing to do it? Huo Chenhuan's eyes turned cold when he heard what she said. He thought of the news that his subordinates had sent over today and already had some guesses in his mind. I don't think what you said is the most. By you. What for you two? Do you like it? Hu Chenhuan held Su Yayan's face and forced her to look at him. Do you like it? If you like it, do it. If you don't like it, refuse. You have the right to choose. I'll give you the right to choose. I'll bear any consequences for you. It was a simple promise, but it hid unshakable determination and courage, which made people's hearts sway uncontrollably. I've never cared about benefiting the public, and I don't care if I get the gratitude of others. I've always only cared about you. If you're happy, I'll be happy. If you're sad, I'll be sad. Life is full of emotions, greed, anger, stupidity, and slowness. They all belong to one person. Chapter 306. Su Yiyan was amused by Hu Chenhuan's words. As she laughed, tears came out of her eyes. Grandpa, you'll spoil me like this? Hu Chenhuan used a little strength and placed Su Yiyan on his lap. He teased, I'm curious. What will you be like after I spoil you? Su Yiyan laughed. I'll probably be spoiled and arrogant. I'll climb over your head and show off. For example? For example, if I'm in a bad mood today, you'll sleep in the guest room alone tonight. Hu Chenhuan's eyes darkened, but he said, You've been wronged outside and are in a bad mood. It's natural for me to let you sleep in. But I'm afraid I won't be used to sleeping in separate rooms. Su Yiyan. You won't be used to it? Didn't you sleep alone before? We've only slept together for 2 days, and you're already not used to it? You've developed this habit too quickly. If I wake up in the middle of the night and miss you, and there's no way to enter your room from the front door, I'm afraid I can only learn from others and sneak in through the window. You'll climb through the window? Su Yiyan was angry and amused. Are you crazy? Aren't you afraid of falling if you climb through the window? Su Yiyan couldn't say that word. She could only glare at him. Hu Chenhuan wasn't scared off by Su Yiyan's glare. Instead, he revealed a sly smile. So, can you bear to do it? What? Sleeping in separate rooms means a night attack. If you attack me at night, I might get hurt. Can you bear to do it? You. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed. How could she not understand that she had been tricked? She couldn't bear to hit him, and she didn't know how to scold him. In the end, she could only snort coldly to express her dissatisfaction. Hu Chenhuan didn't intend to let her go so easily. He continued to ask, Can you bear to do it? If you don't answer, I'll take it as a yes. I'll ask Uncle Zhang for a ladder later. Not only did he climb through the window to launch a sneak attack, he even sought outside help. And he even asked Uncle Zhang for help. If he were to spread the news, wouldn't everyone in the family know about it? It might even spread outside. Su Yiyan admitted that she could not afford to lose this kind of face. Her face was so red that it was about to bleed. She flew into a rage out of humiliation. I don't want to, she said. Then how about the rooms? Su Yiyan glared at him fiercely. No more. Hu Chenhuan laughed and said helplessly, Is this what you mean when you say that she is spoiled? If that's the case, I hope you can be more arrogant. Su Yiyan was stunned. She vaguely understood the meaning of Hu Chenhuan's words just now. The tears that she had suppressed with great difficulty once again rushed to her eyes. Hu Chenhuan lowered his head and kissed her eyes. Then he moved down and gently kissed the tear stains on her face. There wasn't the slightest bit of lust. There was only tenderness and heartache. There was also a trace of inhumane possessiveness. Do what you want to do. Don't underestimate your husband. Even if the sky falls, I can hold it up. When Su Yiyan heard him say this, her expression was a little subtle. He could hold it up even if the sky fell. In her previous life, he had done it. After she died, he personally pierced the sky, causing the world to collapse. Because of this, she was given a chance to start over. You're so powerful, but it makes me look stupid. If you're not stupid, how can I, as your husband, be useful? So, I beg you, be a little stupid, be a little more aggressive, rely on me more, and find something for me to do, okay? Chapter 307. Hua Qinhuan's comfort stabilized Su Yiyan's emotions, but she did not come to a conclusion immediately. Not to mention whether she would agree to Yi Qiliang's proposal in the end. Even if she did, she should think about what to ask of him. The next morning, Su Yiyan woke up early to report to Upper East City. The variety show from before has ended? Yes, it just ended this Friday. Xia Junsheng followed Su Yiyan into the office and gave her a brief report of what had happened in the company during this period. There were 7 people in the final group, and 3 of them were from our company. Su Yiyan sat on the person in charge's swivel chair and simply turned around. She asked curiously, 3 people? Who are they? They are Jing Qiuying, Wang Zitong, and Yun Luoshan. Yun Luoshan? That little girl beside you Yusher last time? Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. If she remembered correctly, that girl seemed to be in the 20th position at that time, which was why she was squeezed out by Wen Jingping. How long had it been? Had she improved so much? How are her abilities? She sings very well. Her voice is quite recognizable and steady. She's not very good at dancing. Xia Junsheng was a little surprised that this girl could persist until the end. I heard that she tried her best to suppress Wen Jingping in the second half of the show. She worked very hard. Su Yiyan nodded thoughtfully and smiled. She knows how to use her strength to shut people up, not her ability and bravery. Not bad. It's just that most young people her age don't have independent opinions and are easily influenced by others. Who's her manager? How's his character and ability? Her manager's surname seems to be Chao. He's been in the company for almost 2 to 3 years. His surname is Chao? Su Yiyan frowned. Has he groomed any famous artists? I don't think so. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment, then turned her attention to the other 2 people. What about the other 2? How are your abilities? The other 2 are more versatile types, especially Jing Qiuying. She's now the captain of a group. Both of them are very popular and can develop in the direction of being versatile artists. Xia Junsheng subconsciously glanced at Su Yiyan when he said this. These 2 were the ones that Su Yiyan had specifically mentioned that they could focus on nurturing. With their abilities, even without Su Yiyan's words that day, the company would definitely focus on promoting them. However, he was able to tell with a single glance that these 2 were more capable than the others. This insight was enough to make him treat them differently. To put it bluntly, an entertainment company was just an investment, and the company's artists were their investment targets. If the value that the artist brought to the company exceeded the resources that they had obtained for him, it meant that the investment was a success. Otherwise, it would be a failure. As a company's decision-maker, it was crucial to the company's future development whether he could become one of the best steeds that Bo Le had chosen, or whether he would be blind and miss the pearls of the sea because of a pile of fish eyes. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment, as if she had already expected this outcome. Where's their manager? Is he the same as Yun Luoshan? That's not it. Xia Junsheng flipped through the relevant information of the 2 and quickly found the information about this manager. He's a newcomer behind the scenes. He used to do variety shows. The reason why he can manage Jing Qiuying and the others is that they were discovered by him. Chapter 308. When Xia Junsheng said this, he subconsciously asked Su Yiyan, "Do you want to change their manager?" Su Yiyan pondered for a moment and shook her head. Let's see his ability first. Don't underestimate the connections of people in the industry. Xia Junsheng's eyes flashed slightly, and he did not speak again. After understanding the remaining 3 Miao Miao, Su Yiyan asked the unlucky one, "How's Yu Yusher's injury?" "She's already recovering, but..." "What?" "She originally planned to be a singer, so this injury will definitely take some time to recuperate. Also, she signed the shortest 3-year contract. Although there are still more than 2 years left, the Yu family is very likely to terminate her contract and withdraw from the entertainment industry after this incident." This result was also within Su Yiyan's expectations. It's a pity. Yu Yusher was able to enter the top 20 without relying on her identity as the second daughter of the Yu family. Moreover, she was ranked relatively high, which meant that she had some ability. Before this, She had also heard from Xia Junxing that she did not enter the entertainment industry for fun. She really wanted to work hard and make a career for herself. She was driven, and her family background was there. What was the saying? The scary thing was not that others were better than you, but that those who were better than you were worked harder than you. If the Yu family really insists on terminating the contract, and she herself has this intention, then let's terminate it. There's no need to have a conflict with the Yu family because of this. Xia Junxing breathed a sigh of relief and secretly rejoiced that they did not spend a lot of resources on Yu Yushi. If they really terminated the contract, the loss would not be particularly great. By the way, there's one more thing. What is it? How's Ning Chirui's illness? It's slowly getting better. Su Yiyan looked up at Xia Junxing as if she sensed something. Why are you suddenly asking about him? Did something happen? He hasn't taken any jobs during this period of recuperation. His fans seemed to have noticed and mistakenly thought that the company had frozen him, so they started to support other newcomers. Su Yiyan frowned. She had been busy with the wedding and the restaurant, so she hadn't been online for a long time. This was the first time she knew about this. I understand. Ning Chirui's family already knows about his illness, so there's no need to continue hiding it. I will arrange for him to post a status update to tell those fans the truth. When the time comes, remember to let the company's official account repost it to show the company's attitude towards this matter. Xia Junxing was, after all, a veteran of the company. When he heard Su Yiyan's words, he was keenly aware that it was a great opportunity to improve the company's image and gain a favorable impression from the fans. Immediately, he said, "Okay, the PR department will carefully consider the words according to Ning Chirui's post. However, it will take at least a few more months for that guy to recover. During this period of time, the company can't do nothing. We have to cultivate more new blood. You don't have to worry about that. Shui Kaiwei and Hong Hui will be back soon. When the time comes, they can help heal a few newbies." Shui Kaiwei and Hong Hui were the stars of Dongqing City. One was a movie queen, and the other was a heavenly king. With these two top stars leading the way, the newbies could indeed take fewer detours, but be careful. Don't end up with a bad reputation. The gains don't make up for the losses. Taking a shortcut had its benefits, but it also came with a certain risk. Understood. As the two were talking, there was a sudden knock on the office door. Then, a female secretary pushed the door and came in. She looked embarrassed and said, "President Su, there's a couple downstairs who want to see you." Chapter 309. Couple? Su Yiyan's face darkened. She immediately thought of two people. After going around in circles, were they back to the original plot? But this time, Xia Junxing frowned when he heard the female secretary's words. He said sternly and unhappily, "Are you just going to let them do as they please? What did I tell you before? Outsiders have to make an appointment in advance to see President Su. We are an entertainment company. How can we casually let unknown people in? What if something happens? If those two dare to cause trouble here, we'll get the security to kick them out." But the female secretary looked troubled. "But those two people said that they knew Director Su and were his friends. They even threatened to fire us if we didn't come up and report." Su Yiyan laughed sinisterly. "I don't know when I got to know such arrogant and domineering friends. Did they say what their names were?" The man said his surname was Hua. Hua. Could it be? Xia Junxing instinctively looked at Su Yiyan with a subtle expression. Su Yiyan saw through his thoughts. The corners of her mouth twitched. She said helplessly, "Do you think the group of people downstairs would be able to stop my husband if it was him?" Xia Junxing was slightly taken aback. Wasn't that right? If the new son-in-law came, these people would probably bring him up directly, let alone report to him. Also, she just said that they were a couple. Wasn't he afraid that she would skin him alive when they got home? At that moment, Hua Chenhuan, who had just received news that those two people were looking for trouble with his wife, suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. The raging anger in his heart suddenly subsided. Xia Junxing couldn't help but rub his nose awkwardly when he heard this. He was so focused on the fact that the man's surname was Gu that he forgot that the female secretary had mentioned that they were a couple. However, the couple's surname was Hua. Could it be? Xia Juanxing's face completely darkened when he thought of this. Since they're already here, let's go down and meet these ignorant weirdos, said Su Yiyan as she walked out. Xia Junxing was worried and hurriedly followed. Yayan, those two people are making a fuss downstairs, asking to see you. It's obvious that they are not here with good intentions. Wouldn't it be too? Before Xia Junxing could finish, Su Yiyan interrupted him. What we want is for them to come with ill intentions. Have you forgotten who I am now? What was his identity? Xia Junxing frowned slightly and answered tentatively, the boss of the East City? No, I'm Hua Chenwan's wife, Mrs. Hua's family Hua. Xia Junxing was stunned. After her reminder, he finally remembered the messy relationship in the family Hua. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Why are there a few people carrying cameras over there? Did they bring it? Su Yiyan had just come down from upstairs when she saw a few reporters with cameras blocking the entrance of the company from afar. The female secretary followed closely behind Su Yiyan and answered cautiously, I don't think so. These people seem to be here to interview a few of our company's female artists. Interview? Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and joked, in a while, go over and lure them closer so that you can take more photos. Su, photos? Just say that our company is giving them a piece of big news for free. In exchange, they can't ask any random questions when interviewing our artists. Chapter 310. The female secretary was a little confused, but she didn't dare to ask. While Hua Xiaofeng and his assistant were focused on Su Yiyan, she hurriedly ran out and negotiated with the people carrying the cameras. When Hua Xiaofeng and his assistant saw Su Yiyan coming down, they immediately rushed over aggressively. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and didn't go down. She just stood on the stairs with her arms crossed and looked down at the two of them. What are you doing here? It seems that what happened 2 nights ago wasn't enough to teach you a lesson. You've only been in the hospital for a day, and you're already out. My aunt really didn't go easy on you. Hua Xiaofeng originally came to denounce them. When he heard Su Yiyan's words, his anger soared. If Wen Jingping hadn't held him back, he would have gone to beat them up in the morning. Su Yiyan was so relaxed because she knew that he wouldn't be able to hit them. She knew better than anyone else that a certain someone was a White Lotus B****. If he really hit them as soon as he came up, and if it was a man hitting a woman, how could she continue to pretend to be pitiful and put herself on the moral high ground? Unfortunately, Wen Jingping was destined to be disappointed today. She stood here facing them today to let this woman relive the nightmare of losing everything in the hospital last time. What? You want to hit me again? Su Yiyan looked at the two of them with disdain and disgust. You came to my territory and wanted to hit me, the owner. Do you really think that my security guards are just decorations? Hua Xiaofeng and his assistant narrowed their eyes, and their hearts skipped a beat. Only then did they notice that the security guards, who were originally observing them from afar, had quietly gathered around them. They had a serious look on their faces that said, if they dare to act rashly, they'll immediately pin them down. Hua Xiaofeng's aura suddenly weakened a little, but he still sneered. So what if you hit me? Su Yiyan, don't think that you married Hua Chenhuan. Hua Xiaofeng wanted to blurt out the word, cripple, but he suddenly felt a pain in his lower body. The beating he had received earlier had left a huge psychological shadow on him. Before he came here, he had a belly full of anger and his heartache for Wen Jingping, which made him temporarily forget how terrifying Su Yiyan was. Now that he thought about it, his imposing manner weakened a bit, and he didn't have the same confidence as before. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you married into the family Hua. Everyone knows that my father is in charge of the family Hua. Hua Chenhuan, At first, Su Yiyan was still lazily watching Hua Xiaofeng stomp his feet. However, when he heard Hua Chenhuan's name, his face sank and became aggressive. Young Master Hua, since you already know that I'm married to your youngest uncle, you should know that in terms of seniority, you should call me aunt. Is this how the Hua family teaches you to call your elders by their names and yell at them? Hua Xiaofeng instantly choked and retorted fiercely, "Don't forget that you're also a member of the family Hua now." "Oh, if that's the case, I shouldn't have said that. Let me correct you. Is this the way your family Hua, who has already moved out of the old mansion, is raised?" As soon as these words came out, Hua Xiaofeng's face turned completely green. It could be said that the head of the family lived in the old mansion. It was a common rule in every family. However, when Hua Chenhuan's father left a will, he gave the Hua Corporation to Hua Chihan, but the old mansion was given to Hua Chenhuan. As a result, their family had no choice but to move out of the old mansion, which made them the butt of many people's jokes. Su Yiyan brought up the old matter at this time, and it was obvious that she was poking at their hearts. Chapter 311. Hua Xiaofeng's face was livid. He was so angry that he almost rushed up to her without caring about anything else. When Jingping was shocked, she quickly hugged his waist and stopped him. "Xiaofeng, calm down, calm down." "How do you expect me to calm down? This B** is clearly, Xiaofeng." It was rare for Wen Jingping to yell at Hua Xiaofeng in a loud voice. In her heart, she also felt a trace of resentment and disdain for the man she had chosen. If Hua Xiaofeng's impulsiveness had been a big advantage in her eyes before, then after experiencing how he couldn't protect her in front of her parents and dragged her down at such a critical moment, this advantage had become completely useless. Now she even doubted herself. Was it right for her to choose Hua Xiaofeng as her future reliance? It had to be said that when Jingping's yell had some effect, Hua Xiaofeng's struggling strength paused. He looked at Wen Jingping with a bit more accusation in his eyes. When Jingping lowered her eyes to avoid his gaze, hiding the impatience and annoyance in her eyes. "Miss Su, Xiaofeng was just too anxious. He didn't want to have a conflict with you. You are a magnanimous person. Don't lower yourself to his level." "Oh." Su Yiyan responded indifferently and waited for Wen Jingping's performance. Wen Jingping didn't expect Su Yiyan's reaction to be so cold. She was a bit choked at the moment. After a while, she finally found her voice again. She said softly and weakly, "Actually, we came here today to ask Miss Su something in person." Su Yiyan didn't answer. Wen Jingping waited for a while before she awkwardly continued, "We want to ask Miss Su, are you the current boss of Dongqing City? And is Dongqing City also involved in the investment of Future Star? This should have nothing to do with you, right?" Hua Xiaofeng suddenly became anxious. "How can it have nothing to do with us?" Wen Jingping took a step forward and interrupted Hua Xiaofeng before he could finish his sentence. "Miss Su, I admit that I've wronged you before. But no matter what, this is still a private matter. You're being irresponsible to your company and your employees." "That's right. You're being irresponsible." Su Yiyan was almost amused by her righteous accusation. "My employees know very well whether or not I'm responsible for my company and my employees. Where did you, an outsider, get the courage and shamelessness to point fingers at me? Are we close?" Wen Jingping was stunned. She opened her mouth and was about to say something when Su Yiyan waved at the girls at the front desk and asked them to come over. "This lady said that I'm not responsible for the company, and I'm not responsible for you. Is that what you think too?" The girls looked at each other, not knowing what to do. "It's fine. Tell me honestly, how have I treated you? How has the company treated you?" "I promise that no one in the company, including me, can do anything to you. There are so many people here who can be witnesses. The company is very good. We have all the benefits we should have. We don't have too much work on a daily basis, and we've never been deducted during holidays. And the people in the company are very kind, unlike some companies that don't treat the receptionists as human beings." With the first one, the few people behind him were no longer nervous. They hurriedly echoed, "Yes, yes, yes. Our company's atmosphere is very good. On normal holidays and employees' birthdays, they will send us small cakes, fruits, and gifts." Chapter 312. In my opinion, these are not the most important things. Isn't the most important thing that you can meet all kinds of stars at the gate every day and ask for their autographs occasionally? The girls were chattering about the various benefits of the company and did not notice the extremely ugly faces of the two men. When Jinping saw that before she could accuse Su Yiyan of using public resources for personal gain, Su Yiyan changed the topic and inexplicably promoted the employee benefits of Su Yiyan's management company. Her expression was extremely ugly. He Xiaofeng frowned and jumped out almost immediately after hearing their discussion. You are the boss of the company. As long as they don't want to lose their jobs, they can't say bad things about the company in front of you. Su Yan narrowed his eyes and sneered. According to what you said, someone is complaining about our company's system behind your back? Since everyone is here today, why don't you call that person out and confront him? If it's really my fault and the company's fault, I'll ask all the company's executives to apologize to him. He Xiaofeng choked. He did not understand how the topic had changed to this point. Su Yiyan had the initiative and everyone's attention was diverted by him. Most importantly, he could not call that person out at all. The so-called Su Yiyan abusing his power for personal gain was originally their guess and imagination after they found out that Su Yiyan was the boss of Dongqing Entertainment, and Dongqing Entertainment happened to be the main investor of Future Star. It's still the same sentence. They only dare to say these words behind your back. If they really come up to you, will you let them go? That's funny. They are unwilling to stay in the company and suffer, but they can't bear to leave this job? Don't you think it's contradictory? Su Yan's casual words nailed He Xiaofeng to a dead end. The others gradually came to their senses. Wasn't that right? According to Su Yiyan, the so-called employees that He Xiaofeng mentioned were people who were dissatisfied with the company but were reluctant to leave because of the benefits that the company could bring them. Was his complaint about He Xiaofeng just a casual remark out of spite, or was he purposely urging He Xiaofeng to be the first to stand out for him? If it was the former, then He Xiaofeng's actions could be considered as meddling in other people's business. That employee probably hated him now. If it was the latter, then He Xiaofeng was an idiot. He had been sold, yet he still wanted to count the money. No matter which type it was, he belonged to the thankless type. The gazes of the people around him instantly became thought-provoking. What a pity, he looked like a dog, but his brain wasn't that smart. How could He Xiaofeng not see the pity and mockery in everyone's eyes? He was a young master who had been spoiled since he was a child. How could he endure such humiliation? His face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Su Yiyan only felt an indescribable sense of irony and satisfaction. Of course, she knew that He Xiaofeng couldn't find the culprit. Because she knew very well that the reason why He Xiaofeng was angry was because of Wen Jingping, and not because of the so-called internal employees of the company. But if she thought about it carefully, this virtual employee was very similar to Wen Jingping. For her own benefit, she asked He Xiaofeng to bring her here. She watched with an innocent and hurt face the whole time. She asked He Xiaofeng to stand up for her and added fuel to the fire from time to time. She didn't seem to have much of a presence, but in fact, she simply treated He Xiaofeng as a marionette. Only He Xiaofeng, the idiot, didn't realize it and thought that he was the dominant one between the two. Chapter 3:13. No matter what, this is an internal matter of our company. The person involved didn't say anything, so why are you jumping into a rage? Su Yan rolled her eyes at He Xiaofeng mockingly. She changed the topic and said with a faint smile, or do you want to represent all the employees of our company because you're not an employee of our company? Why don't you ask them if they're willing to be represented by you? But He Xiaofeng was stunned. Only then did he notice that the girls that Su Yiyan had called over, as well as the other employees of the company who had heard the news, were all looking at him with disdain and disdain. Obviously, they didn't want to be represented by him. Su Yiyan was too lazy to argue with this fool. She looked at Wen Jingping, whose face was slightly pale, and said, "And Miss Wen, you just said that you let me down. I'm curious, what did you do to me? Come, tell us. Let us all hear it." Wen Jingping avoided her gaze and said ambiguously, "It's not important. It's all in the past." Look at what she said. People who didn't know better might think that she was the victim. She was the main culprit. What right did she have to say that it was not important and that it was all in the past? Su Yan smiled coldly and said, "Then what do you think is important?" When Huo Xiaofeng heard Su Yan's words, he immediately stepped forward and shielded Wen Jingping behind him. He looked like a hero saving a damsel in distress and said, "Of course it's because you hate little Ping because of what happened before. You deliberately interfered with the results of the competition and eliminated little Ping. If you're not abusing your position to take revenge, then what are you? You think I'm the one who eliminated her? Who else could it be if not you?" After being reborn, Su Yiyan still couldn't understand how Huo Xiaofeng could become the world's male lead with such a weird brain circuit. "What evidence do you have to prove that I eliminated her? Just because I'm now the person in charge of Dongqing, and Dongqing is one of the big investors of that variety show?" Huo Xiaofeng frowned. Just as he was about to speak, Wen Jingping spoke up weakly behind him. "I know my ability is limited, but in the end, Dongqing took up 3 spots. Although I'm not saying that they're bad, isn't this kind of result a little unfair to those girls who worked hard?" Wen Jingping made it sound as if the reason why the 3 girls in her company were able to survive until the end was because of the company's investment. With just a few words, he had erased all the hard work of others. How vicious was his mind? Even Su Yan could not help but get angry. She immediately retorted, "Look at what Miss Wen is saying. How capable are the artists in our company? How capable are you? Don't you have any idea?" Wen Jingping was not prepared for Su Yiyan's sudden attack. She was stunned for a few seconds before she thought of retorting, but she was rebuked again. "In Miss Wen's opinion, what do you think is fair? What is the competition in the entertainment industry? It's a competition of popularity and ability. You just said that our company took up 3 spots among the 7 people in the end. That's right, I'm proud of those 3 girls. Because they are capable and talented, and their abilities and talents have been recognized by a wide range of audiences. They have been loved by those who recognize their excellence. They deserve these 3 spots. It's not just them. The 7 people who formed the team at the end of the show also deserved it. People with ability are destined to be famous. On the contrary, Miss Wen." Chapter 314. Su Yiyan stared into Wen Jingping's eyes and walked down the stairs step by step. "Miss Wen, do you think you're qualified to be one of the 7 contestants?" Popularity? If I remember correctly, after Miss Wen successfully passed the preliminary round of the audition, she did something evil. She was suspected of blackmailing a new host on a website. However, she was countersued and lost a lot of money. As a result, her popularity plummeted. After that, there was a quarrel between the top 20 contestants. She caused a lot of trouble and caused a huge negative impact on the program team. Wen Jingping's face was livid. She opened her trembling mouth and wanted to refute, but she realized that she could not say anything. According to the contract of the program team, the female artists participating in the program must ensure that their reputation is positive during the recording period. During this period, if the artist's negative reputation affects the program team has the right to withdraw the artist from the competition and ask the artist to compensate the program team for the series of losses caused by her. This contract requirement was very common. Most of the contracts signed before going on variety shows, shooting commercials, and joining the production team would have such a clause. After all, investors also needed to make money. For artists with bad records who could not bring a positive impact to their investment products and could even smear their products, the best they could do was to minimize their losses. Su Yiyan's identity at that time happened to be one of the investors who held Wen Jingping's lifeline. "According to what you said, if I really used my identity as an investor to take revenge, then I should have informed the program team to kick her out directly. Why would I wait until the end? Why don't you investigate whether Miss Wen's reputation is more positive or negative because of the previous 2 incidents?" When Su Yiyan said this, she looked at Wen Jingping meaningfully. "Miss Wen, are you here to tell me this now because you want to remind me to seriously calculate how much losses you've caused to the production team? Do you want to take responsibility?" Wen Jingping's expression changed slightly and she subconsciously took a step back. Huo Xiaofeng subconsciously retorted, "Why didn't you think of kicking Wen Jingping out of the program team at that time?" "It was me." Xiaofeng. When Jingping hurriedly pulled Hu Xiaofeng's sleeve to stop him from continuing. She had almost been kicked out of the show twice because she had asked Hu Xiaofeng for help. Although she didn't manage to stay until the end, the program crew had indeed changed their mind after Hu Xiaofeng called them. When Jingping naturally thought that the program crew had made her stay because of Hu Xiaofeng's pressure. They came here today to prove that Su Yiyan was targeting her because of her past. She used the program crew's malicious editing to discredit her and even sacrificed the company's artists to ruin her reputation. She wanted to wash away the bad reputation that she had attracted before and splash a basin of dirty water on Su Yiyan and the company under her name. However, if Hu Xiaofeng revealed that he had pressured the program crew to make her stay, she would be the one who had taken shortcuts by the unspoken rules. What right did she have to stand on the high ground and criticize others? It was you, what? The more Su Yiyan looked at Hu Xiaofeng, the more she felt that he was a fool. She had only refuted a few words and he was about to explode. She didn't feel any sense of accomplishment at all. When Jingping looked at Su Yiyan's calm and composed appearance and suddenly felt a trace of fear that she had never felt before. This time, she seemed to have accidentally provoked a demon. Chapter 315. After being pulled back by Wen Jingping, Hu Xiaofeng realized that he had almost spilled the beans. His face darkened and he was speechless. Su Yiyan was sure that he wouldn't dare to say it out loud. She raised her eyebrows and pressed on, "Why aren't you saying anything?" Hu Xiaofeng glared at Su Yiyan angrily. He had no choice but to swallow his grievances. "It seems that you've also realized the loophole in your logic. You can't say anything to refute me." Hu Xiaofeng gritted his teeth. If it weren't for Wen Jingping grabbing his arm tightly, he would have pounced on Su Yiyan and torn her apart. However, if he really pounced on her, it was hard to say who would be torn apart. Su Yiyan didn't intend to let them off so easily. Her gaze fell on Wen Jingping. Looking at her pleading and fearful eyes, she raised her eyebrows slightly. She was surprised and amused. It was too late to be afraid now. She didn't have the time or energy to play with these two idiots. However, they were so eager to be slapped in the face. How could she show mercy? Now that we're done talking about popularity, let's talk about ability. When Jingping's face turned pale, just like what Su Yiyan had said before, did she not have the slightest idea of whether she was capable or not? Early on, when it was time to advance from 100 to 60, there were people who questioned why she was allowed to stay when she couldn't even sing or dance. This question became more and more intense as she advanced. Many people who were more capable than her had been eliminated, but she was still allowed to stay. Was there some kind of shady deal? Because of this, many fans of the show became her haters. If it weren't for the die-hard fans she had accumulated during her previous live broadcasts and Hu Xiaofeng secretly throwing money to help her buy votes, she would have been eliminated long ago. I know that I'm not a professional and I'm lacking in many aspects, but I've really worked hard. And the result of your efforts? As soon as Wen Jingping finished speaking, Su Yiyan pointed out the main point with a cold face. Do you sing a song that will satisfy the audience? Or do you dance a dance that will make the audience explode? Wen Jingping's Achilles heel was hit. Her whole body shook and she subconsciously took a step back. Seeing this, Hu Xiaofeng hurriedly helped her up and said indignantly, "Little Ping said she tried her best. Why are you forcing her like this?" I forced her? When did I force her? If telling the truth is considered forcing someone, then I am indeed forcing her. Hu Xiaofeng roared in exasperation, "You're so mean. How can you always focus on her shortcomings? Can't you look at her strengths?" On what basis? What? Hu Xiaofeng was confused by Su Yiyan's sudden question. Why do I have to look at her strengths? The program team selection list clearly states that the talent show wants to select truly outstanding talents, not experiencers who come here to play house and treat the competition as child's play. If young master Hu doesn't understand what this means, I can reluctantly explain it for you. What it means is that this is a competition. It's a competition that is based on ability and audience popularity. Nothing else matters. Have you ever heard of contestants who sign up for a competition and are about to go on stage saying to the organizers, "Sorry, I'm a newbie. Can you let the experienced veterans go easy on me and give me a ranking?" Hu Xiaofeng, don't treat everyone like fools. No one has the obligation to spoil you. Chapter 316. Hu Xiaofeng's face turned green, then white, then green again. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Su Yiyan didn't care about how he felt. She had been holding it in since her previous life, and today, she could finally vent it out. You said that she worked hard. Fine, I'll take it that she worked hard. She worked so hard, but she still turned in such a terrible stage performance. That only shows that she's not suitable for this industry at all. As far as I know, there are many people who work harder than her in the program. They don't even have a foundation like her, but they turn things around through their own efforts. There are also many people who shine on the stage. Why can others do it, but you can't? Why can't those who are better than you be eliminated, but you can't? When Jingping subconsciously wanted to refute, but when she looked up, she met Su Yiyan's cold eyes. At this time, Su Yiyan had already walked down from upstairs and was approaching the two of them step by step. Hu Xiaofeng subconsciously wanted to stop her, but she slapped him away. He staggered a few steps before he could stand firm. The onlookers were speechless. Seeing that Su Yiyan was approaching the two dangerous people, Xia Junxing, who hurried downstairs to help, was speechless. Hu Xiaofeng was stunned for a few seconds before he reacted. He wanted to go forward and stop Su Yiyan, but he was already held down by Xia Junxing and a few security guards. "What are you doing? Let me go, let me go. Do you know who I am? I'm the heir of the Huo Corporation." After being restrained, Hu Xiaofeng was so angry that he shouted and brought up the Huo Corporation and Hu Qihan. The people around him looked at him like he was an idiot. The reporters who were waiting not far away were so excited that they recorded this scene. They even thought of the news title. "The heir of the Huo Corporation makes a scene in Dongqing. Angry because of his girlfriend?" A strange man is caught making a scene in Dongqing. He screams that his father is XXX. If they knew about the marriage between Su Yiyan and Hu Xiaofeng, they might come up with even more explosive topics. Su Yiyan ignored Hu Xiaofeng's stupidity and walked up to Wen Jingping. Heaven rewards the diligent. Opportunities are always reserved for those who are prepared. If you think it's unfair that you were eliminated, then if you were really selected, would it be fair to those who have more ability, potential, and work harder than you? To put it bluntly, she was just being selfish. Or did she really think that she was the woman of destiny and that everyone had to give in to her and support her? If you're slightly unhappy, you'll think that someone is targeting you? No, I didn't. You didn't? Then what did you mean when you hinted that you shouldn't have been eliminated? Explain it to me. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and said clearly, "Or do you think that you can beat everyone with your face alone, better than hard work and talent?" Every time Su Yiyan took a step forward, Wen Jingping took a step back. When she heard Su Yiyan's words, she tripped and fell on her own. Wen Jingping, who was sitting on the ground, was stunned. In a trance, she seemed to feel the eyes on her from all directions. The scornful, sarcastic, and even disgusted gazes made her feel as if she had returned to her previous life, where everyone looked down on her and anyone could bully her. Finally, Wen Jingping could no longer stand the malice of the people around her. She screamed, got up from the ground, and rushed out of the Dongqing gate with her face covered. Chapter 317. Wen Jingping's scream was so loud and shrill that it gave the onlookers goosebumps. Hu Xiaofeng was also stunned for a few seconds before he came back to his senses. He roared, "Little Ping!" If one didn't know better, they would have thought that something had happened between the two of them and that they were separated forever. Hu Xiaofeng struggled even harder, and the bodyguards almost lost their grip on him. Xia Junxing gave the bodyguards a look, and they let go of Hu Xiaofeng's hands. Hu Xiaofeng couldn't stop in time and almost fell flat on his face. He barely steadied himself and rushed out of the door with a dark expression on his face. He couldn't be bothered to look for trouble with Xia Junxing and the bodyguards. Tisk. Su Yiyan watched the two of them disappear into the distance. His eyes were full of melancholy. They ran away just like that. How boring. Xia Junxing, who was thinking about how to clean up the mess, was speechless. After he sighed with melancholy, Su Yan turned his head and waved at the reporters. The reporters looked at each other and hesitated for a moment before they walked up to Su Yan. They said in a trembling voice, "Hello, President Su. We are reporters from Yueshang magazine. We are here to interview your company. Did you record everything that happened just now?" The reporters suddenly became nervous again. They were afraid that Su Yiyan would go back on his word and ask them to delete the footage. The leader of the senior reporters swallowed hard and said truthfully, "Yes, we did." "That's good." Su Yiyan sighed softly. "You saw it just now. She fell because her legs went weak. It has nothing to do with me. With the video, I shouldn't be blamed for this. Fortunately, I'm lucky." The reporters were speechless. Xia Junxing was speechless. Was this the main point? Now that he thought about it, this was indeed the main point. The two of them were pestering him endlessly. They obviously didn't have the ability but still pretended to be innocent and tried to scam him. It wasn't impossible. "Send a copy of the video to the Public Relations Department. It'll be insurance." Okay, we'll send it right away. It was just a request. How could they refuse? The same old reporter from before asked tentatively, "Then this report. You can write whatever you want. I guarantee that the whole corporation won't be able to do anything to you. However, the premise is that you have to report it truthfully and don't add unnecessary things on your own initiative. Otherwise..." Su Yiyan's eyes turned cold, revealing a hint of coldness and threat. "You don't want to know the consequences." The old reporter wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and hurriedly said, I understand. As reporters, we should seek truth from facts and convey real-time and accurate information to the public. This is what we should do." "That's it then. My secretary should have mentioned it to you just now. Thank you for taking care of our company's artists. There will be many more opportunities for cooperation in the future." Although it was Su Yiyan's first time dealing with these reporters, he knew to give them a carrot after a stick. Her words could be considered as giving these reporters a good impression. After all, there were quite a number of artists in their company. As long as they handled this matter well, there would be many more opportunities for them to interview others in the future. But Su Yiyan said a few words to them and then handed the follow-up to Xia Junxing. She stretched and went upstairs to continue understanding the internal affairs of the company. Unexpectedly, just as she entered the office, Hu Chenhuan's video call came. Chapter 318. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. She picked up the phone without thinking. "Chenhuan. Are you okay? I'm on my way there now. Xiaoyang is closer to you." Su Yiyan was stunned. "You know? I'm fine. They are the ones who are in trouble. You don't know how embarrassed they were just now." After that, Su Yiyan told Hu Chenhuan everything that had happened not long ago. From time to time, she laughed happily, taking pleasure in other people's misfortune. Hu Chenhuan listened quietly. His eyes were full of tenderness and indulgence. "It's really funny. I didn't even think about messing with them, but they rushed to touch my eyebrows. They thought I didn't know what they were thinking. They wanted to splash all kinds of dirty water on me and you. They really thought I was a soft persimmon, and I didn't know how to resist at all. Even a clay figurine has some temper." Hu Chenhuan's eyes narrowed dangerously when he heard that. He agreed and said, "They've gone too far." The anger in Su Yiyan's heart subsided slightly because of Hu Chenhuan's words, and a smile appeared on her face. Forget it. When those reporters expose this matter, it'll be enough for them to suffer. Just take it as the price for them to extort our company and our artists. Free publicity for our company and publicity for our artists." Su Yiyan smiled like a little raccoon that had stolen honey. She was charmingly naive but also a little mischievous. After today, everyone in the circle will know how good our company's benefits are and how outstanding our artists are. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, She lifted her chin and gave Hu Chenhuan a suggestive glance. Her face was filled with a smug expression that said, "Aren't I great?" and "Quickly praise me." Hu Chenhuan didn't praise her as she wanted. Instead, he said with some distress, "If the media publicize this matter, I'm afraid it will involve your previous matter." Su Yiyan knew what he was worried about. He smiled and said, "I know, but I don't mind, and I don't avoid these things. If you don't want others to know, then don't do it in the first place. What has already happened cannot be hidden forever. Instead of caring about those rumors and trying hard to hide them, it's better to take the initiative to face them and transform the past into something that's useful to you. In any case, I'm the victim here. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not the one who should be worried about being exposed and condemned." Su Yiyan could more or less guess what kind of negative comments he would receive after this matter was exposed. At most, it was the so-called "it takes two to clap" of some stinky straight men, and the "love is supreme" of the Virgin Mary. Compared to these irrelevant comments, Hu Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping needed to suffer the most fatal condemnation. At least for Wen Jingping, the title of mistress was confirmed. Her path to becoming a Mary Sue in the entertainment industry was cut off. The only thing that Su Yiyan was more worried about was that the shameless family might use her marriage with Hu Chenhuan and Hu Chenhuan's leg to criticize her. Thinking of this, Su Yiyan said apologetically, "I'm sorry. This time, I might implicate you and make you be criticized. If being scolded and ridiculed is the price I have to pay for marrying you, I hope they'll scold me a few more times and scold me more fiercely." If it were in the past, he might have been angry and hurt by these so-called verbal attacks. But now, no matter how vicious the ridicule was, it couldn't hurt him, because he already had the most beautiful thing in the world, and it was also the thing he wanted the most. Chapter 319. Su Yiyan was both touched and amused. Who likes to be scolded by others? Hu Chenhuan looked at the smile on Su Yiyan's face. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, but she did not comment. Su Yiyan's matter was almost settled on her own, so Hu Chenhuan did not continue to rush over. Su Yiyan had a lot of things to do. After comforting Hu Chenhuan for a while, she took the lead and hung up the video call. After hanging up the video call, Hu Chenhuan's face quickly became gloomy. She directly gave Zui Yanbai an instruction. "You can send out the press release that you prepared earlier." "You mean the things buried under the Hua group?" "Yes. I understand. Before noon, all the official media will receive the relevant materials about the buried things in the ground. In addition, help me contact my father's old subordinates. Tell them that I haven't seen them for a long time and I want to meet them." Zui Yanbai was stunned and said in surprise, "When do you think it's a good time?" "The sooner, the better." "Okay, I'll arrange it as soon as possible." The joy and eagerness in Zui Yanbai's tone made Hu Chenhuan's heart harden. Even these outsiders could see the indifference and harshness of Hu Qihan's family. It was a bit ironic when she thought about it. Even if there was a little affection in the past, it was almost exhausted after so many years. Entertainment news competed for timeliness and popularity. Moreover, Su Yiyan had already hinted so clearly that this matter must be publicized truthfully and quickly. After several reporters of Yueshang magazine went back, they wrote an earth-shattering and melodramatic drama as quickly as possible. In the drama, Green Tea White Lotus was dissatisfied with the results of the variety show competition, so she led her brainless rich boyfriend to personally go to the big investor. She openly and secretly stepped on the artists of the same year and ridiculed the variety show's shady business. In the end, she was miserably slapped in the face by the big investor. Long Outyin did not dare to write a novel like this. Many netizens saw the familiar exaggerated title and complained in their hearts, but they still clicked on it. It would have been better if he didn't look. Now that he did, he saw a familiar face. What the hell? If I'm not mistaken, this Wen Jingping is the Wen Jingping who was mocked 30,000 times every day in Future Star? F***ck, you can even eat your own melon. The so-called dissatisfaction with the results of the variety show competition is dissatisfaction with the final result of Future Star? The artist she stepped on is our Yingying. shaking hands with the person above. It's not just your family, but my family as well. What an unexpected calamity. F***CK, 3 people from the same company, and our Shanshan. What did this B***TCH mean? Did they think that the top 7 contestants were no match for her, a noob who sang out of tune and danced like her? Where did you get the face to do that? Please don't compare our Inying to this B***TCH. She's not worthy. That's right. Our Tong Tong is both sweet and salty. I really don't know where she got the face to say that 3 people from the same company passed. These 3 people were voted in by us fans. They climbed up step by step. How can a noob like you step on them so casually? You're crossing the line to scam people. They're already in a group and they're still causing trouble. This woman must be crazy to want to be famous. She's not just starting to cause trouble now. She's been causing trouble since before the competition. Friends who don't know can go and search. Back then, almost all the coaches in the show were scammed by her. Chapter 320. Zheng Qiuying was able to stand out from hundreds of people with her own ability and become the team leader. Her ability and popularity were self-evident. Although Huang Zitong's strength was slightly weaker than hers, she was pretty and had a gentle temperament that didn't cause any trouble. The 2 of them participated in the competition together. They were opponents and friends. Furthermore, they were good at different things and did not have the same resources. Therefore, the fans of the 2 teams were unexpectedly harmonious. Needless to say, Yun Luoshan was the youngest and the most timid. She also had a silly and cute personality. She was the team's favorite. The 3 of them could be casually picked out and people could see their strengths at a glance. It could be said that they beat Wen Jingping in all aspects. When Wen Jingping confronted Su Yiyan, she thought that she had the moral high ground. Little did she know that when these words fell into the ears of the 3 people's fans, it was like poking a hornet's nest. Usually, the fans of celebrities who relied on their looks to make a living didn't like others saying that their idols had no ability and relied on dirty tricks to get to the top. These fans who had watched their idols put in countless efforts and finally walk the path of fame and glory to the top of the stage couldn't tolerate such words. For a time, Wen Jingping was simply a vicious black lotus in the eyes of the 3 fans. She was the best synonym for a hypocritical green tea bitch. Not only that, but the members of the 7-person team who weren't mentioned were more or less implicated. Especially the fans of the last contestant at that time, they felt that their idol had accidentally been implicated. They followed the footsteps of the other 3 fans and pointed their guns at the same time. Compared to the fans of the other teams who were advancing together, Wen Jingping's fans were a little unlucky. The other fans were just eating melons to see their idols being implicated, but they were eating melons until their house collapsed. Boyfriend? F***CK, isn't she single? This question flashed through the minds of all of Wen Jingping's male fans and some of her female fans. When Wen Jingping first started her live broadcast, she attracted a lot of viewers with her pitiful image of a little white lotus and her delicious home-cooked dishes. After that, she cooperated with the internal staff of the website who signed her at that time to sell the misery of a single-parent family and gain the protection of countless male viewers. Before participating in Future Star, Wen Jingping had already confirmed her relationship with Huo Xiaofeng. However, she was not stupid. In her previous life, she was also a fan of celebrities. She knew very well that celebrities who took the popular route did not have the right to be in a relationship. These people were willing to spend money on you because they treated you as their own child, their own husband and wife. In the eyes of these fans, wasn't he using their money to support his girlfriend? How could they tolerate this? Therefore, those who suddenly had relationships during the rising stage of their careers were mostly done for. It was precisely because Wen Jingping knew this that she had always announced to the public that she was still single. Her fans also believed her. But now, this report was telling them that she had a boyfriend, and she even brought her boyfriend to fight with someone. Then what were they? What were these male fans who had spent a lot of money on her and wanted to send her on the path of flowers? The previous scamming incident and the top 20 fighting incident had already helped Wen Jingping clear a lot of fans. Most of the fans left were brainless straight men who only cared about appearances. But no matter how brainless a straight man was, he couldn't stand a green grassland above his head. Chapter 321. When Jinping's fans and her own anti-fans could not be bothered to argue with them. One by one, they swarmed onto Wen Jinping's official account, demanding an explanation. While all this was happening, Wen Jinping was still angry that Su Yiyan had humiliated her in front of so many people. Just as she logged into her official account and was about to express her sadness, Su Yiyan saw a screen full of mockery and doubts. She almost fainted on the spot. However, this was just the beginning. Su Yiyan saw Wen Jinping's male fans rioting, and a hint of schadenfreude flashed across her eyes. In her previous life, Wen Jinping did not reveal her relationship with Huo Xiaofeng to the public until her death. In the original novel, their relationship was only revealed later on when Wen Jinping's career was smooth sailing and she received the approval of the male lead's family. At that time, Wen Jinping had already been promoted to the throne of Best Actress. She had a lot of male confidence, and her position in the industry was unshakable. Not only did this matter not affect her career, but she also received a lot of blessings. Now, the time was not right. Wen Jinping's reputation had not changed yet. Most importantly, some of her male confidants had not yet taken their positions, and some had already changed sides. The sudden revelation of their relationship was undoubtedly a fatal blow to her. Su Yiyan had just finished laughing when a familiar notification sound rang in her mind. Congratulations on stealing the female lead's golden finger. Progress +10. Current progress is 20. Please continue to work hard. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes. Just by revealing their relationship, the progress has increased by 10. According to the system's evaluation, revealing the relationship of the male lead and female lead early will cause the female lead to lose the support of most of her fans. At the same time, it will also affect her future interactions with other important male supporting characters. Therefore, it is determined to be 10. It will affect her future interactions with other important male supporting characters? Su Yiyan thought about it and understood. In the original novel, Wen Jinping was indecisive and couldn't bear to hurt those who loved her. To put it bluntly, she was like a social butterfly, coming and going from one outstanding man to another. Apart from the male lead, she kept countless spare tires for herself in case of emergencies. The way she flirted with these spare tires was actually quite low class. She lied that she and Huo Xiaofeng were just friends, or described Huo Xiaofeng as her suitor. When these men developed feelings for her and became jealous of her intimate contact with Huo Xiaofeng, she would then push the blame to her agency. She told them that her management company had asked her not to disclose her relationship with Huo Xiaofeng to the public when her career was on the rise. That was why she had kept it a secret from them. She did not lie to them on purpose. At that time, the supporting male lead had already developed feelings for her and naturally couldn't bear to scold her. When he saw her weeping like a pear blossom in the rain, his heart also softened. He couldn't leave and could only willingly be her bootlicker spare tire. Now, Wen Jinping's trump card had already been broken and her reputation was more or less ruined. Unless it was those special lovers who liked to make others jealous, if these people could still have any interactions with Wen Jinping, it would probably be Wen Jinping taking the initiative to be their bootlicker and not them rushing to be her protector god. If we start from this aspect, I'm afraid the current situation is still lacking. Su Yiyan rubbed her chin and pondered for a moment. She called the company's public relations department and asked them to find a group of Big V accounts to take the initiative to expose the matter between her and these two people. Chapter 322. Therefore, before the news of Wen Jinping trampling on her peers was over, a bunch of so-called insiders appeared one after another. They started to reveal the identities of the three protagonists in the report, as well as the love and hate between the three in the video. The onlookers dropped their jaws. Although the blogger has tried her best to explain the relationship between the three in a subtle and objective way, the man dated the second female lead when he was still engaged to the first female lead. He even took advantage of his father's birthday to ask the first female lead to break off their engagement in front of countless guests. He even pushed the first female lead down the stairs during the argument and sent her to the hospital? In summary, isn't it just a scumbag cheating mistress who spoils his concubine and neglects his wife? So this White Lotus is a mistress? Thank you to the class representative above. I knew there was nothing wrong with the blogger's description, but I kept feeling that something was off. I instantly felt that the man was a scumbag and the second female lead was a whore. I feel sorry for the first female lead. No wonder in the previous video, the second female lead pretended to apologize to the first female lead. When the first female lead asked her what she was sorry for, the second female lead immediately changed the topic. As a mistress, of course, she was embarrassed to say it in public. If she said it out loud, she would be scolded to death. She was embarrassed? If she was really embarrassed, she wouldn't have been a mistress. She didn't say it because she wanted people to think that she was the victim and lead the public to blame the first female lead. The funniest thing was that she actually accused the first female lead of taking revenge for a personal grudge and deliberately harmed her. Even if the first female lead harmed her, she deserved it. Not to mention that the other party didn't harm her at all. She's not capable enough, but she still wants to smear others to clear her name. What kind of a venomous woman is this? It's really chilling. When He Xiaofeng received Wen Jingping's call for help, public opinion had already pinned him and Wen Jingping on the pillar of shame as a scumbag and a mistress. He Xiaofeng had never suffered such humiliation in his life. He immediately hired a group of internet trolls to argue with this group of people. The internet trolls' strategy to clear their name was simple. They simply thought that the two of them were originally in a business marriage and had no feelings for each other. The man met his true love and broke off the engagement to pursue her bravely. There was nothing wrong with that. Otherwise, it was just like what Su Yiyan had predicted. The man didn't want the first female lead and wanted the second female lead instead. There must be something wrong with the first female lead that even her man couldn't stand it. She deserved to be cheated on. Such a whitewashing statement was, of course, rebuked. A business marriage should have integrity. Don't blame others for taking revenge on you. Seeing that this was not going to work, the fake reviewers turned to quibble that He Xiaofeng was daring enough to pursue true love. Of S to us to us of the. Do you think the whole world revolves around you now that you're the one who's talking? Su Yiyan couldn't help but burst out laughing when she saw this. She secretly sighed that some netizens were quite talented. They could always hit the nail on the head and hit the nail on the head. Just as she was about to continue watching these sources of happiness, the screen changed. Ling Xiaoqi's call request popped up. Su Yiyan didn't think much about it and picked it up. She heard her best friend's heart-wrenching roar as soon as the call connected. Yin now. Immediately. Come and pick up your little bastard. If you're late, I can't guarantee that you'll see him alive. Chapter 323. Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. She opened her mouth and was about to say something, but Ling Xiaoqi had already hung up. So, what was she trying to do? Su Yiyan was dumbfounded. When He Chenhuan walked down the stairs, he saw his wife standing there in a daze. Her face was blank and inexplicably adorable. What's wrong? Su Yiyan woke up from a dream and said with a bitter face, Xiaoqi just called me and asked me to bring Dun Dun back now. If I'm late, I might not be able to see it alive. What did Dun Dun do to make her so angry? How would I know? She just said one sentence and hung up. Su Yiyan thought for a moment. Could it be that Dun Dun was too naughty and tore down her house? Haven't you thought, it might have something to do with Hua Hua? What can it have to do with Hua Hua? Su Yiyan stopped abruptly and turned to stare at He Chenhuan. A few seconds later, Su Yiyan could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. She shouted outside the courtyard, Uncle Zhang, prepare the car. It was originally Zui Yanbai who stayed at the old mansion to take care of He Chenhuan today, but He Chenhuan had something to ask him to do, so Yuzian came over. Along the way, Su Yian urged Yu Zian several times as if she was on fire. Yu Zian didn't feel annoyed. He only found it funny. Don't be nervous, young madam. Miss Ling is your best friend. She won't do anything to Dun Dun even if she's angry. You don't understand. Su Yian sighed. Xiaoqi might be gentle and soft, but if she's really pissed off, no one can stop her. Su Yian held Hu Chenhuan's hand tightly and said sadly, I'm really worried that if we're late, she'll really stew Dun Dun into dog meat hot pot in her anger. Dog hot pot? As soon as Hu Chenhuan heard the word hot pot, she subconsciously thought of the hot pot Su Yian had made before and asked in a low voice, Is it delicious? Su Yian. Darling, wake up, that's our cub. Yu Zian. Although he was also very curious about this question, young master, to ask this question in front of young madam. A group of people rushed to Ling Xiaoqi's house full of worries. Before they entered the door, they heard Ling Xiaoqi's angry roar. Stop, 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 don't come over. If you dare to come closer, I will kill you. Do you know what kacha means? It means... Su Yian's mouth twitched when he heard this, and he couldn't continue listening. He opened the door and rushed in. Hey, we're here. If there's anything, let's talk about it face to face and solve it face to face. Don't scare it. You're here? Ling Xiaoqi was stunned when she saw Su Yian. After she reacted, she hurriedly carried her Hua a few meters away from them. You came at the right time. Take this little bastard away. Take him away. Su Yian glanced at Dun Dun, who had a full beard and tail, and heaved a sigh of relief. He picked it up from the ground. Dun Dun saw that its owner had come and cried out aggrievedly. It nestled in Su Yian's arms and looked at the Hua in Ling Xiaoqi's arms. Su Yian's mouth twitched slightly and he said helplessly, What happened? This little guy. It would have been better if Su Yian hadn't said anything. Ling Xiaoqi almost exploded on the spot when she heard this. This little bastard. Ling Xiaoqi couldn't say anything for a long time. Su Yian frowned and said tentatively, It completed the great harmony of life with the Hua. Chapter 324. Ling Xiaoqi, Hu Chenhuan and Yu Zian, who were following closely behind. What kind of great harmony was this? Ling Xiaoqi was thunderstruck by this description. It took her a few seconds to react, and she burst into tears on the spot. Sob, 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 my poor child. From now on, you're no longer the pure and innocent you from before. Su Yian, Hu Chenhuan. It turned out that Dun Dun had followed Ling Xiaoqi home for the past 2 days. Although it liked to hang out with Hua at first, it was still well behaved. In addition, Hua was stronger than it, so even if it had any ulterior motives, it would be suppressed in a matter of minutes. Ling Xiaoqi initially guarded against it and didn't let it get too close to Hua. Especially at night, it was basically locked in one room each. No matter how much Dun Dun scratched the door, it wouldn't easily let a wolf into the house. Ling Xiaoqi woke up early this morning. She was really sleepy in the afternoon, so she went into the bedroom to take a nap. Unexpectedly, when she woke up and walked out of the room, I saw this little bastard riding on top of our Hua. Ling Xiaoqi still felt stifled when she recalled the scene. If looks could kill, then this lustful, short-legged brat would have been killed 1,000,000 times over by her. Su Yian also didn't expect that her silly dog would have such dumb luck. It actually succeeded. She immediately hugged Dun Dun and kissed it. She praised it sincerely. Well done. Yu Zian? Hu Chenhuan, Su. Ling Xiaoqi completely exploded. Su Yian's expression stiffened. She smiled awkwardly and said, It's its fault. It's all its fault. How could you do this without permission? Are you a little hooligan? You're too impulsive. What did I teach you before? No matter who it is, you can't do this to anyone. You've really disappointed me. Dun Dun. How could you be a coward at such a critical moment? Dun Dun, who was betrayed by its owner, could only turn around and look at its dog father. Hu Chenhuan received its pleading gaze, but silently looked away and pretended not to see anything. Dun Dun? Didn't we agree to be each other's angels? How could you ignore me at a time like this? Of course, it's its fault. Otherwise, is it our Huahua's fault? Su Yayan's good apology made Ling Xiaoqi's anger subside a little. But when he thought that from today onwards, his own child would no longer be a virgin, he still felt incomparably stifled. It's a pity that our Huahua is still a baby. To think that she has to encounter such a thing. What if she gets pregnant? Why is our Huahua's life so hard? Me too. How could I have been so soft-hearted and brought it back? I knew it was a troublesome little bastard, but I still brought it back. I really brought a wolf into the house. I regret it so much. Ling Xiaoqi's face turned pale. She seemed to have imagined the terrible future. She looked at Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan with resentment. Therefore, in the next 10 minutes or so, Su Yayan and Hua Chenhuan experienced in advance the terrible experience of their brats falling in love at such a young age and impregnating the girl's belly. It was a terrible experience of causing the girl's parents to fall in love with her and lose all their face. Yu Zian stood at the door and looked at the two high-spirited people who no one dared to look down on. However, when they were read, they lowered their heads in shame and repented. Not only did he not feel the slightest bit of sympathy, he even felt a little amused. Chapter 325. Although Ling Xiaoqi was angry, she knew that what was done could not be undone. What was done had been done. After grumbling for a long time and venting the anger in his heart, he gave up and sighed, "Forget it, forget it. I overreacted a little. You can take it back." Su Yiyan was relieved to see that she had calmed down. He threw Dun Dun into Hua Chenhuan's arms and quickly stepped forward to hold Ling Xiaoqi's hand. Dun Dun was indeed in the wrong, but what's done can't be undone. There's no point in dwelling on this, right? They know each other very well, and our Dun Dun likes Hua Hua so much. Hua Hua is also very protective of our Dun Dun. Isn't this a good thing? Ling Xiaoqi was a little angry when she heard this. She snorted and said, "Your Zai Zai is a male, so of course you'd say that. If we really want to talk about this, our Hua Hua is the one who's taken advantage of, okay? What's so good about it? At the end of the day, you're just lusting after its body. Men really are all bad." The two men present were speechless. It was fine that they usually took the blame for those scumbags who had no bottom line. After all, they were still a species. Now, this little b** starred of a different species caused trouble. Why did it have to be them as well? It was so hard to be a man. Su Yiyan was also a little amused by Ling Xiaoqi's indiscriminate attack. However, he also knew that this was not the time to argue with her. He had to appease her. Thus, he agreed. Yes. Men are all bad. Yu Zian, who was standing at the door and watching the show with relish, narrowed his eyes and glanced stiffly at his young master. Seeing that his expression did not change, but there seemed to be an inexplicable dangerous atmosphere around him, he silently lit a candle for Su Yiyan in his heart. Su Yiyan finally managed to pacify Ling Xiaoqi, so he didn't want to agitate her by putting Dun Dun in her house, so he brought the troublesome dog back home. Before he left, Dun Dun wailed a few times in an attempt to arouse the sympathy of his beloved and her master. Unfortunately, Ling Xiaoqi was still angry, and Hua Hua seemed to be on its master's side unconditionally. It didn't even look at Ling Xiaoqi. All right, don't look like an abandoned husband." Su Yiyan rubbed the back of Dun Dun's furry neck and smiled helplessly. "You're really brave. You've only been at someone's house for 2 days and you dare to bully their dog. Luckily, Xiaoqi has a good temper. If it were me, I would have thrown you out long ago to fend for you." Dun Dun wailed and looked at Su Yiyan with incomparable resentment. It didn't forget someone's betrayal just now. Su Yiyan saw that it didn't have any remorse, so he narrowed his eyes and said maliciously, "I suddenly remembered that in this weather, dog meat hot pot is the best. It dispels the cold and nourishes the body. Why don't we eat this tonight?" Dun Dun sensed the danger keenly and screamed, its eyes full of complaints. Su Yiyan was angry and amused. He reached out and patted the head of this dramatic dog. "Now you know how to be afraid? If we didn't come quickly just now, I'm afraid you would have become Xiaoqi's meal now. Dun Dun wailed a few more times miserably. It lay in Su Yen's arms and mourned its quickly passing love. It was like a little old man who had experienced thousands of sales. Su Yen let it be sad and sighed helplessly. As soon as he turned his head, he met Hu Chenhuan's teasing eyes. Are there no good men? Su Yen. I'm not, I can explain. Chapter 326. Su Yen laughed dryly and said with a fawning expression, Xiaoqi's situation is special, so she will occasionally be a little sexist. Don't take it to heart. Hu Chenhuan was not so easy to fool. I only take your words to heart. You said that there are no good men. I had no choice but to agree with her. Really? Su Yen looked at Hu Chenhuan's face, carefully pulled his sleeve, and tentatively asked, Are you angry? Hu Chenhuan was really not angry. As Su Yen said, she had no choice but to agree with her just now. She was not really dissatisfied with him, so he would not be angry because of this. But when he heard Su Yen ask him softly if he was angry, and her tone was full of nervousness and fawning, Hu Chenhuan's eyes darkened slightly, and he admitted shamelessly, Yes. Are you really angry? Su Yen immediately moved closer. Don't be angry. I promise I won't say that again. Hu Chenhuan's expression did not change, and he did not speak. Su Yen blinked and continued to probe. Then what should I do to make you not angry? Hu Chenhuan still did not speak and just stared at her. What did this mean? Su Yen frowned and thought for a moment. Finally, she gritted her teeth and leaned over to kiss Hu Chenhuan's lips in front of Yu Zian. A light flashed in Hu Chenhuan's eyes, but the expression on his face still did not change. Su Yen's heart skipped a beat when she saw this. Could it be that she was wrong? Even this method didn't work? Before she could think more, she heard Hu Chenhuan say unsatisfactorily, Just once. Su Yen, Yu Zian, who thought he had misheard, Su Yen did not know whether to laugh or cry, but he also breathed a sigh of relief and said without any pressure, Then let's kiss a few more times. After saying that, she took the initiative to lean over and kiss him a few more times. Every time, it was a kiss on the lips. Yu Zian, who had been bullied for no reason, was speechless. Hey, that's enough. Don't bully a single dog like this. Dun Dun, who was still in Su Yen's arms. That's enough. Was this really appropriate in front of a lovelorn dog that had just been heartbroken? Dun Dun, who had just been brought back, once again had the idea of running away from home. This heartless world had truly broken its heart. Su Yen kissed her several times before stopping. He smiled and said, You're not angry anymore? Su Yen breathed a sigh of relief. Then, as if he had thought of something, he stared into Hu Chenhuan's eyes and said with a faint smile, You are indeed not a good person. Yu Zian, who had thought that this matter was finally over. Young madam, are you crazy? You finally managed to coax him, and now you're saying this again? Are you planning to coax him again? Hu Chenhuan was stunned. He thought that Su Yen had sensed that he was pretending to be angry and had angered her instead. Just as he was about to explain, he heard Su Yen say, You are a good husband. Yu Zian was speechless. Do you guys like to take such long pauses when talking? A faint blush flashed across Hu Chenhuan's face. Although he didn't say anything, Su Yen could see the pure joy in his eyes. He was really easy to coax. Su Yen couldn't help but laugh. However, she slowly reached out and took the initiative to hold Hu Chenhuan's hand. Although these words were said to coax him, they were also from the bottom of her heart. In her eyes, there was no better husband in the world than Hu Chenhuan. And in the future, if they could have children of their own, he would definitely be the best father in the world. Chapter 327. Su Yen and the others picked up the troublemaker Zai Zai and went home. The atmosphere was warm and loving. On the other hand, Hu Xiaofeng was not so lucky. This time, Su Yen was determined to make Hu Xiaofeng and Su Yen suffer. Even if she could not make them fall into eternal damnation, she wanted to teach them a lesson. Didn't Hu Xiaofeng buy the internet water army? They bought it too. Hu Xiaofeng and the others were not in the right to begin with. Once Su Yiyan's internet water army bought the internet water army, they attacked them directly. Their sarcasm and ridicule were 10 times, no, 100 times more interesting than the internet water armies. In just half a day, the internet water army was defeated by the internet water army with the help of passers-by. It was worth mentioning that the ones who contributed the most were not internet water army or passers-by, but Wen Jingping's male fans. These people were once attracted by Wen Jingping's face and her gentle personality. They fought for her at the forefront of the anti-defamation campaign. However, all of this was based on the premise that Wen Jingping was single and everything she showed was real. Now, these people realized that everything they thought was fake. Her being single was fake, and this woman's so-called gentleness and kindness was also fake. Other than her face, everything else about her in front of the camera was fake. They hated her now as much as they liked her in the past. Her existence was a constant reminder of their past stupidity. Hu Xiaofeng looked at the screen full of mockery and curses. His face was gloomy to the extreme. His resentment towards Su Yiyan and the Su family reached its peak. Even now, he still did not feel that what he did in the past was wrong. He just liked a woman and did not want to accept his family's arrangement to marry a woman he did not like. Why did everyone have to go against him? Compared to Hu Xiaofeng, who was full of anger, Wen Jingping was more terrified when she saw these comments. Mistress? Why did everyone treat her as a mistress? She was not a mistress. She and Hu Xiaofeng were clearly in love with each other. Why did she call them a scumbag, a slut, and a two-timing mistress? This was completely different from the perfect love between Cinderella and the prince that she had imagined in her mind. Weren't the fiancés of the male protagonists in romance novels all vicious female supporting characters who would eventually be condemned as cannon fodder? Their marriage was just a business alliance. There was no emotional foundation. She was Hu Xiaofeng's true love. How could these people scold her without knowing anything? She didn't do anything wrong. It had to be said that from a certain point of view, these two people could be considered a perfect match. How similar were their perspectives when thinking about problems? However, now that things had escalated to this point, it was no longer something they could control. Hu Xiaofeng looked at Wen Jingping's deathly pale face and thought of how she had risked her life to save his life a few days ago. His heart softened and he comforted her softly. It's okay, it's okay. These people are just jealous of us. Their words are clear and logical, but if they really meet us, they may be even more resolute than us. Moreover, don't be fooled by how fiercely they are scolding us now. After a few days, they will definitely forget about it. It was originally something that had nothing to do with them. They will just talk about it and forget about it the moment they turn around. Really? Wen Jingping looked at Hu Xiaofeng with reddened eyes. She had lived 2 lives, but she was not as naive as Hu Xiaofeng. Perhaps Hu Xiaofeng's words were not without reason. These people who were following the trend and scolding them now would soon forget about this matter. However, the internet had memories. For those who did not like her, if she did not handle this matter well, it would be a stain on her life. Chapter 328. Wen Jingping was ambitious and wanted to be the best. Naturally, she would not allow such a deadly dark history to exist. But I feel bad when I see them scolding you like this, especially when they're not only scolding you but also your parents. I'm afraid that your parents will have a bad impression of me because of this. They won't. Hu Xiaofeng subconsciously wanted to refute, but as soon as the words left his mouth, he remembered the scene of his mother scolding him in the hospital that day. His expression immediately became subtle. We can't let them continue scolding you like this. When Wen Jingping saw that he was persuaded by her, she quickly added, if things go wrong, it might affect the company. Do you want to ask Uncle in advance and see if he has any other ideas? Hu Xiaofeng was young after all. In addition, he had been spoiled since he was a child and had not had much experience in life. He basically went down the wrong path without any direction. Wen Jingping hoped that Hu Xiaofeng's father would be better than him and help the two of them settle this matter. Hua Xiaofeng heard Wen Jingping's words and felt that they made sense. He immediately called Hua Qihan. The two of them had placed all their hopes on Hua Qihan, but they did not know that Hua Qihan could not even protect himself at this time. A few hours ago, the Hua Corporation had spent a lot of effort to acquire an investment site. Suddenly, the site of a suspected colony of extinct creatures was unearthed. This matter was comparable to the ancient Earth's imperial palace being excavated. Not long after the news broke, geological experts from all over the world rushed over. As early as when humans found this habitable planet with great difficulty, many people were very curious. This habitable planet was rich in resources, but they had not seen the existence of human-like beings. Was this a primitive planet that had never been developed before? If it wasn't, then had it experienced the same changes of eras as Earth before this? Before that, what occupied the top of the food chain? Many biogeologists stubbornly believed that exploring these things could better determine the future direction of human development so that this beautiful habitable planet would not repeat the mistakes of ancient Earth. Therefore, once this matter was exposed, it immediately received widespread attention. The original construction team had to temporarily stop work and wait for follow-up inspection and confirmation. Hua Qihan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot when he heard this. He swept all the documents on his desk on the spot. Who is in charge of this land? Didn't you ask someone to do an on-site inspection before writing a plan to buy land? Why are these things dug out from the ground? The secretary, who was forced to bear the brunt of his boss's anger, stood on the side with a pale face. After a while, he said in a trembling voice, "The person in charge of this land seems to be Captain Hua." Hua Qihan's eyes narrowed slightly. Only then did he remember that when Hua Xiaofeng first entered the company's senior management had questioned his ability. After all, Hua Qihan only had one son. Naturally, he couldn't bear to see others criticize him, so he handed over an important project in the company to him. He asked him to focus on inspecting a few pieces of land, make an evaluation report based on the results of the inspection, and finally decide on a piece of land as the cornerstone of the project. After all, this was his son's first performance result after entering the company. Although Hua Qihan helped guide him, he couldn't do too much on the surface. Otherwise, even if it was really done in the end in the eyes of others, he would be the one who opened the door for his son and not Hua Xiaofeng's own ability. Chapter 329. Therefore, except for some guidance in the early stages, Hua Qihan did not show up from beginning to end. Hua Xiaofeng was in charge of the field inspection and survey of those lands. After reading the evaluation report he handed over, Hua Qihan also secretly checked the competitors participating in the bidding out of caution. He found that many big companies were also very optimistic about this piece of land and were trying their best to win it. Naturally, he thought that this land did indeed have great development prospects. When he learned that Hua Xiaofeng had won this land, he was happy for a long time. He felt that his son could win against those old foxes and give him a lot of face. But now, Hua Qihan wished he could go back in time and stab this scourge to death. Then he would stab himself to death. Where's Hua Xiaofeng? He made such a big mistake. Where is he now? Hua Qihan slammed the table loudly. As his father, you don't even know where he is. How would I know? The secretary silently complained in his heart, but he said, Team leader Hua took sick leave 2 days ago and has not returned to cancel his leave. He is not in the company for the time being. When Hua Qihan heard the words, sick leave, he immediately thought of the terrible things Hua Xiaofeng had done 2 days ago and became even angrier. Contact him right now and ask him to come to the company. If he doesn't come, he doesn't have to come for the rest of his life. Okay, I'll go right away. When the secretary heard this, he felt as if he had been granted amnesty. He turned around and was about to run out when Hua Qihan's cell phone rang. Seeing the caller ID on the screen, Hua Qihan frowned slightly and shouted, Wait, you don't have to go. He called me. Hua Qihan thought that Hua Xiaofeng had seen the news and knew that something big had happened in the company. Only then did he remember to call him. Unexpectedly, as soon as the call was connected, Hu Xiaofeng took the initiative to explain the ins and outs of the matter and begged his father to help clean up the mess. If this had happened under normal circumstances, Hu Qihan might have been angry, but he might have helped him clean up the mess. But it was different now. Hu Qihan's mind went blank when he heard his son's words. What did you say? You took that woman to Su Yiyan, and your previous engagement with her was exposed. Now, everyone is scolding you and that woman? Hu Xiaofeng did not realize that something was wrong. He only thought that Hu Qihan was angered by the curses he had just said, so he quickly added fuel to the fire. Yes, Dad, you don't know how vicious that Su Yiyan is. She insulted little Ping inside and out in front of everyone, and she even got someone to record it and post it on the internet, causing others to dig up all our secrets. It's fine if a lot of people are scolding me and little Ping, but now they're scolding you and my mom. Hu Qihan was so angry that he almost fell back. Is there something wrong with your brain? Don't you know how much the Su family hates you and that Th beside you after the engagement was called off? You even insisted on bringing people to the Su family. If they don't insult you, do you think they'll flatter you nicely? Hu Xiaofeng did not expect Hu Qihan to have such a reaction. He was stunned for a few seconds and became angry. He said unhappily, Dad, how can you speak for that bitch? It's obviously that bitch who went too far. Hu Xiaofeng was still cursing on the other end. Hu Qihan was so angry that his whole body was trembling. His vision turned black. Finally, his body swayed and he fell back. President? President! The president fainted. Call an ambulance. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.